Is here near 65,000 to see the Broncos and the 49ers. San Francisco is 4-1, a touchdown favorite. Denver somewhat desperate. If they lose, the defending AFC champions will be 2-4. Welcome aboard, Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen. The 49ers won the toss and will receive Rich Carlos to kick it off for Denver and White. John Taylor and Doug DeBose are deep for San Francisco. Taylor, number 82 on the far side, returned to punt 77 yards for a touchdown against Detroit last week here at Candlestick. Denver has won the last 3 times they have played the 49ers. And San Francisco and Bill Walsh well aware of that. Walsh reminding his players they want to go 5-1, stay with the Rams in the West. We're underway. It spins down at the 7-yard line. DeBose, the former Nebraska star, at the 20. On his feet to the 25. Knocked out of bounds by Sam Grady and Tyrone Braxton. An 18-yard return. Here come the 49ers and Joe Montana, Tom Rathman, and Roger Craig. The Husker back attack. 2 former Nebraska Cornhuskers, Craig and Rathman. Wilson and the brilliant Jerry Rice on the outside. Ron Heller for the injured John Frank at tight end. Steve Wallace, Jesse Sapolo, Randy Cross, the veteran at center, Guy McIntyre, and Harris Barton, the front 5. Rice to the left. Wilson also on that side. Montana throws on first down. Dumps it off to Rathman. And the fullback gains 3 in the grasp of Simon Fletcher, number 73. It'll be 2nd down and 7. Defensively for the Broncos, Walt Boyer for the injured Freddie Gilbert. Greg Kraken on the nose, Andre Townsend. The linebackers led by Carl Mecklenburg, number 77. Fletcher, Dennison, and Ryan completing that core. On the corners, Mark Haynes and Jeremiah Castile with Randy Robbins for the injured Dennis Smith and Mike Harden at safety. 2nd and 7. Montana to Rathman again. And Castile comes up from the corner to make the hit at the 32-yard line. It'll be shy of a first down by 3.
Dick, one of the things you do not want to do in this game is tackle Rathman high. You'll have a headache that will last for hours. He is a bull of a back, great power, is a fine blocker. He's one of the main reasons that this San Francisco rushing attack has been so effective so far in 1988.
A terrific compliment to Roger Craig, number 33, who leads the league in catches with 35 and is the leading rusher for the 49ers. But Montana, thinking that Denver would key on Craig, has gone to Rathman his first 2 passes. This one over the middle, incomplete. Intended for Mike Wilson on that left side. Wilson covered by Castile. And the Broncos have held to open the game and will get the ball on a punt as in comes number 9, Barry Helton. Helton, who was drafted in the 4th round out of Colorado, replaced Max Runniger, who's now kicking for the Cleveland Browns. Gerald Wilhite, number 47, is back at the 25 for Denver on the skin part of the baseball infield. They've not been able to resod here at Candlestick. A flat kick. You could tell from the sound he didn't hit it just quite right. Wilhite to the 34-yard line. He's playing in front of a lot of family and friends. He was a collegian at San Jose State. 40 yards on the kick, 5-yard return. Sam Kennedy, who leads the 49ers in special teams tackles, gets another. John Elway. He's off to a sluggish start. He's got people not only concerned but curious up in the Mile High City. Tony Dorsett and Sammy Winder, the running backs. Ricky Natil and Vance Johnson, the wideouts, and Clarence Kay, the tight end. Juriga, Bishop, Brian Karts, and Lanier, the offensive line. They start from the 35-yard line. Orson Mobley, the tight end, in motion. Elway guns to the far side, complete. Vance Johnson rolled out of bounds at the 46-yard line. It's a 11-yard gain and a first down for Elway and the Broncos.
San Francisco corners tend to play a little bit loose. Elway's arm makes that dangerous.
Larry Roberts, Michael Carter, perhaps the best nose tackle in football, Kevin Fagan. Charles Haley, he likes to rush the passer. He's a Fred Dean type. Ricky Ellison leads in tackles. Michael Walder and Keena Turner. McKyer and Griffin on the corners. Fuller and Lott, 2 hard-hitting big safeties. First down, Elway. The quickie is to Johnson on this side, and he's wrapped up immediately by Don Griffin, number 29.
The message from Elway very quickly: if you're going to give us room on the outside, we're going to take advantage of it. Elway dropping quickly. And Dick, you talked about the speculation about Elway. Why is he having so many troubles? The first question you ask is he physically all right? You know his arm is all right, the way he's whipping that football, but he is not running as well or escaping as well from traffic so far in this year.
Just 2 yards on that last play, 2nd and 8. 4 plays, 4 passes. Elway down the middle, incomplete to Clarence Kay, the tight end, in a crowd of red-jerseyed 49ers.
I asked John Elway what he had to do today. What was he thinking about? He said very simply, I've got to play within myself. I can't try to make it all happen with a single play. In other words, he can't force the issue. That's what's been getting him in trouble with interceptions.
Well, from his college days at Stanford through his career with Denver, he's the kind of player that just feels that pressure. He wants to do it all. And if the team isn't winning, he tries perhaps too hard. 3rd and 8. The crowd trying to make it difficult. They pick up the blitz. And is it good to Sewell? He comes up with the ball shy of a first down at the San Francisco 44-yard line.
I think they may have given him a little extra on that mark. It's still going to be very, very close. Really a tough call in a sense of where that ball ended up. Very close to a first down, and they're bringing the marker in from the sideline.
Remarkable catch by Sewell with the Broncos. Rick Massey, you heard on NFL Live, staying in Denver with his problems. They have only 3 wide receivers, and Sewell will be performing a lot in that capacity.
Here's Ronnie Lott on the blitz. One of the reasons that play was successful was that Lanier, number 76, one of the fine pass blocking tackles, able to stop it. You'll see Sewell coming across the top of your picture, and watch this great catch with all kinds of pressure from Griffin on his back.
Generous spot, and it is a first down for the Broncos. 4 straight passes for Elway, and he's back to throw again. Underneath to Kay, the tight end, and he's toppled close to another first down at the 34. Griffin and Michael Walter making the tackle.
Clarence Kay went down in the opening game against Seattle, a bruised spinal cord. He came back last week for those 5 receptions you see there, missed greatly by Elway and these Broncos.
5 in a row. That's bingo, isn't it?
That's bingo. And Dick, while they're measuring to see if that's a first down, one of the things you can do to this 49er defense, if you can get the running game going at their defensive ends, they are not big defensive ends. You can put some pressure on them on the corners. So far, Elway has neglected the running game almost exclusively, passing it and attacking those corners, challenging them to say to them, in essence, you want to lay off? We'll work the outside. We'll work the short stuff up the middle.
He sends Nateel and Johnson, his 2 speedy wide receivers, to the right. Clarence Kay, the tight end, to the left. Tony Dorsett and Sammy Winder in the eye behind Elway. That's Nateel in motion. First give is to Winder, and the fullback is to the 29, a gain of 5 and a first down.
Sammy Winder has never really gotten the kind of accolades, in my estimation, that he has earned. He's not the guy that's going to get the big yardage for you, but look at that average, 5.2. He's as tough and hard-nosed a runner as there is in the league, and he made good yardage on that play.
And he's been Denver's top rusher each of the last 6 years. Won't be this year, at least at this stage, with Tony Dorsett getting the call more often. First down play. Elway going for 6 points. It is intercepted in the end zone by number 22, Tim McKyer. And do they call it an interception?
They're going to give it to him.
Yes.
A great play by McKyer. The plan, obviously, to test the corners early and then to go deep. That ball, underthrown by Elway, was picked off just off the shoe tips. Watch this diving catch by number 22, McKyer, just before it hits the ground. What an athletic play.
Boy, Vance Johnson didn't have a chance. McKyer's second interception, he and Griffin, of course, were 2 players that signed very late in the summer. And McKyer coming into form. He's from Texas Arlington, drafted in '86, as was Griffin.
I think they're reviewing that play upstairs, Dick. They may have questioned whether it was actually a catch or not. Maybe we can go back and take another look at it, as McKyer had great position, forcing Vance Johnson to the outside, keeping him away from the football, and then diving for that catch at the last second.
Elway's problems continue. His 10th interception. He has only 5 touchdowns. Now let's take a look. Does the ball hit the ground? Looks like he cradles it neatly. No, I didn't see the ball touch the grass.
On further review, play is ruled as called on the field. Touchdown. First down.
Great job by McKyer, and you heard
he did catch it without question. It did not. He had his arms underneath it when he took the ball. He then rolled over and cradled that football on top.
Replay officials seeing it as we did. It is the interception. Craig loses 2. Good defense. Robbins coming up from safety, and Mark Haynes playing it tough against the run at his left corner spot.
Robbins comes back out of that stack limping a little bit. San Francisco so tough to defense because they can run and they can throw. Montana, there goes Robbins off the field, and boy, this is a problem that continues to haunt the Broncos, as they have had trouble keeping healthy defensive backs on the field.
Robbins for the injured Dennis Smith, so Steve Wilson, 45, comes in to replace him. Here's Rathman with a huge hole. Rathman all the way to the 38-yard line, and San Francisco's initial first down.
A balanced offense is so tough because who do you key on? You key on Craig? Obviously they did that time. And Rathman is going the other direction with a small counter that picks up big yardage.
He's 6'1" and 232 pounds and loves to run over people. He's an outstanding blocker as well. First down at the 38. This time it's Craig. Boy, he's tough to bring down. He still is on his feet. What an effort by Roger Craig to the 49 of Denver.
That kind of second effort will just give you goosebumps. Watch Roger Craig refuse to go down on this play, and I think the Denver Broncos are expecting a whistle. You don't get a whistle until a man stops moving. Roger Craig refuses to stop moving, picks up an extra 8 yards, running out of a third tackle there. Great power.
He's a brilliant player, leading the team in rushing and receiving again. Now it's Rathman as they run straight ahead at that Denver defense. No score here midway through the first quarter. Let's go to New York. Here's an NFL update with Gail Gardner.
All right, thank you, Dick. In Cleveland, the Browns lost quarterback Mike Pagel with a separated shoulder, and they lost the game as well to Seattle. Seahawks' Kurt Warner, 97 yards rushing on the day. Their only touchdown from a yard out. The final was 16-10 Seattle. Let's go back to Candlestick.
So the Seahawks, that's a score of interest to Denver fans, and Rulon Jones, who has been sent back a notch to the second string as far as the defensive end is concerned, gets himself an easy sack.
That's not a sack, that's a baggie. Montana fell down, and all Rulon had to do was touch him, just touch on him, and I don't think that's the kind you want to celebrate over.
Coach Dan Reeves of the Denver Broncos. He has called this a very serious afternoon in San Francisco. He said, we just can't afford to go 2-4 this early. On 3rd and 15, Montana. Knocked down by Simon Fletcher, number 73. So the 49ers, despite 2 outstanding runs by Rathman and Craig, will have to give up the ball.
Montana is at his best when he's in the flow of the game. He's a possession kind of quarterback. When he can get you second and short, when he can have the advantages, he is almost impossible to stop. But on 3rd and long, he's a little bit vulnerable. And you saw that ball batted away by Fletcher, using that good height to take advantage of it.
Elton to kick. Will Height back for Denver at the 10. Oh, Steve Sewell very close to blocking that one. Takes a San Francisco bounce. And Wilhite with a block on the first 49er down. Sidney actually gave Denver 20 yards. That was a 20-yard block.
It was Sidney coming to the outside and leaving his post right behind the center, who almost caused a problem there. They took one of the men out of coverage, brought Sidney outside in motion to send him upfield. He almost made the big play, but of course that's legal to block as long as you don't show fair catch. If you show fair catch, then you're not allowed to block down there.
Just enough to slow him down, or Sidney would have had that ball inside the 5-yard line. Denver, as you saw, huddling with Reeves on the sidelines. Play called, and then they come right to the line of scrimmage. Dorsett in the eye. No score. Halfway through the first quarter. It's Winder again, and he's to the 24-yard line.
Trying to establish something up inside, and that's dangerous turf. That's Michael Carter's turf. You see Fagan up off the ground. Carter at 285 pounds, playing much lighter than he did in the past. Last year it was said he got up as high as 320, although his official weight about 310. But I'll tell you, he is a monstrous force inside, working on Billy Bryant, veteran center for the Broncos.
Silver medalist in '84 in the shot put. Sam Grady was a gold medalist. He's the man wide to the right, number 83 for Denver. Elway is dropped for a sack at the 18. Jeff Fuller coming in on a safety blitz.
The 49ers pulled all the stops last week. In fact, the last couple of weeks have been coming with a whole variety of blitzing packages. And this is something that Elway has been able to get away from. Traditionally able to escape this kind of pressure. Not so here. You saw Fuller from the right-hand side coming in for the sack.
11th time this year that Elway has been sacked. Brings up 3rd down and 13. Elway out of the shotgun. Ronnie Lott moving up on the line of scrimmage. We welcome Kansas City and Houston. A long pass downfield, incomplete. Elway trying to hit his tight end, Clarence Kay, on a 3rd down pass, and so that brings up the punting team. 4th down and 13, no score. We're 6 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in the first quarter here at Candlestick Park in San Francisco.
So far, both teams really unable to get on track on offense. Both defenses coming up with big plays to shut things down.
Mike Coran, who is the top punter in the NFL by far. His net average is 41-7. Taylor and McKyer are deep. A high boot. Fair catch in the sun, and that'll take a bounce. Picked up by Taylor, and Taylor out of bounds at midfield. So the Broncos watching one man call fair catch, the ball bouncing, and the other picking it up. And Taylor, who had the punt return for a touchdown against the Lions, alertly takes it all the way to midfield. 50-yard punt, 16-yard return. Dan Reeves unhappy. They mark the out of bounds at the 48-yard line. We welcome those of you who have been watching the New York Jets and Cincinnati Bengals. 5:57 remaining in the first quarter here at Candlestick. No score. San Francisco with the ball at the 48. Montana down the middle. Jerry Rice to the 25-yard line. This is the deepest penetration by either team in the first quarter. 27 yards on the play.
What an incredible receiver Rice is. Unbelievable kind of play. He sees double team coverage from most everyone. Michael Haynes pushing him off, and the deep safety who was supposed to be there to help didn't show up. And Jerry Rice, who is the strongest receiver in the NFL, shows you some great running after the catch.
22 catches this year. He was the National Football League's most valuable player last year. Roger Brown.
Oh, what great acceleration.
Randy Robbins back in the game after limping off earlier, able to run him out of bounds after a 5-yard gain.
Is there a better conditioned athlete in the NFL, Dick?
Oh, did you see him yesterday? He could pose for muscle modeling. He's lost 10 pounds. His coach, Bill Walsh, says that he is one of the few players he's ever seen. He laments the last day of practice every year. He just loves to play football. Lost 10 because he's been moved from fullback to halfback.
Works out 3 times a day in the off season. Now that's dedication.
Second down 5. Rathman, the fullback, and Carl Mecklenburg is there to say hello.
Carl Mecklenburg playing with a cast on that right thumb, a Bennett's fracture on that right hand, and the big cast has been a bit of a problem for him. Stopped him, he said last week, from making a couple of tackles. But Mecklenburg, and you'll see him inside, 77, right in the middle of your picture. Watch how quickly he diagnoses the play, gets up inside, and boy, he just looks like a bulldogger coming up in there to take down a very tough Rathman.
Bill Walsh, high in his praise, the San Francisco coach, of Mecklenburg's talent. Called him one of the very best in the league. Third down 3. Little misdirection, but Craig caught from behind. The play made by 99 Sean Knight, second-year man from BYU. And so the 49ers will have to go for the field goal.
Knight, who is larger than most of those defensive linemen. This has always been an undersized Denver defense, and they've tried to bulk up that front 7 over the last few years. They're hoping that Knight will help them to do that, because they're having some trouble when people run right at them. They have problems.
Mike Cofer, 8 for 13 this year. This is a 37-yard attempt. Montana to hold, and San Francisco has the early lead, 3-0. 3 minutes, 42 seconds remaining in the opening quarter. The 49ers by 3. San Francisco's Candlestick Park. The 49ers leading 3-0. And this kickoff is sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beers. Mike Cofer, who just nailed a 37-yard field goal. And at the other end for Denver, number 84, Ricky Nattiel, and Ken Bell, number 35. With 3:42 remaining, opening quarter. Denver gets the ball, and it's Nattiel, a speedster from Florida. But well done by the special teams of the 49ers. About a 25-yard return to the 23, and Denver trailing 3-0 will put it in play from there. 3:32 remaining in the first quarter.
This long row of junkers is no.
Using that sideline huddle with a timeout, rather than re-huddling on the field, they just go right to the line of scrimmage. Something that Sam White and the Bengals have used effectively. Denver starting from the 22. Elway to Tony Dorsett. And Dorsett out across the 30-yard line. Elway started the game, first possession for the Broncos, by completing his first 5 passes, and had moved the team down to the 25 of San Francisco, only to be intercepted by Tim McKyer.
If you're going to throw the football against San Francisco, you've got to control the nose man. Watch Billy Bryant, the center, and Keith Bishop here, both doubling down on Michael Carter, the nose tackle, to keep him out of the traffic flow, to give Elway time to get that quick pass off to Dorsett.
We welcome New England and Green Bay. That network that has seen Green Bay win its first of the year and win impressively. And then to Sammy Winder breaking into the open. Finally wrestled down by 22. Tim McKyer, a first down for the Broncos at the San Francisco 47-yard line.
When you have a Tony Dorsett in the backfield, it's obvious that you've got to keep an eye on him. That opens the way for number 23, Sammy Winder, popping up quickly inside. And that's a great tackle. That's Lott, actually 42 rather than 22, but Lott looks like he had to go to that leg and just got to ride him to get him down.
23 yards for Winder on the run to match his uniform number. Orson Mobley, big tight end in motion. Incomplete at the 37-yard line. Griffin on the coverage. Nattiel, the intended receiver, just to bring you up to date on some of those scores. Those that have been watching us from the opening kickoff, Green Bay 45-3 over New England as the Packers have their first win. And here are some of the other finals. Cincinnati still unbeaten. Their best start matches their best start ever in Bengal history. Seattle with a big win at Cleveland. Houston in a tough one at home against Kansas City. And Chicago leading Detroit 7 in the fourth. Here 3-0 San Francisco. 2 minutes left in the first quarter. Elway on 2nd and 10. Open and incomplete as Vance Johnson running right into the teeth of that 49er defense, and you know that number 42 is going to be around you when you run that pattern, and that can be hazardous to one's health.
One of the things that Ronnie Lott brings back to this defense, he's been out with a hamstring injury, and he came back with a bang last week against the Detroit Lions, and he'll put some hurt on you back there. He's an intimidator. He and Fuller both, and when you run in there, you got to look for him because he'll take your head off.
Elway, after completing his first 5 passes of the game, has missed his second 5, one of them intercepted. Gets away from Haley, throws to the far sidelines, and it's complete to Johnson, and it appears he has enough for the first down just near the 36.
And Dick, as Elway dropped back, he stepped onto that skin turf, and it's very slick. Foot slipped out, almost fell, regained his balance, was able to get up and throw that pass, and that's where Elway's strength is, in those long passes.
10-minute ticker. The Rams easy winner at Atlanta. Washington over Dallas. Minnesota edging a tough Tampa Bay team at home. Miami, LA Raiders no score. Pittsburgh, Phoenix no score. 14-0. San Diego early. That's a surprise against the Saints. Saints starting 4-1, tied with the Rams in San Francisco atop the NFC West. On first down, Elway shoots it incomplete. Sewell was the intended receiver, and Griffin there to make the play. Check that McKyer there to make the play for the 49ers.
McKyer all over him. Let's go back to that previous play. We mentioned the skinned area on the turf and the slickness. Watch Elway step back onto that skinned turf, actually slid on the edge of the regular turf even before he got to the skinned area. Got away, but look at that ball thrown right on a string, and an easy first down. Nothing gained there. 2nd and 10. Michael Carter. Centers, smart centers, working on an eager nose tackle. Occasionally just squeeze the football a little bit.
95 defense, 5 yards, still 2nd down.
Well, he's a great player. Carter from SMU, 4 times the NCAA indoor and 3 times the outdoor shot put champion from Dallas high school system. He is 6'2" and 285. Might be a little heavier than that, but boy, can he charge off the ball.
Well, he's about 285 right at the moment, but he is an explosive. That explosion that you need to throw a shot, he uses to explode off the line of scrimmage.
2nd and 5. Good protection for Elway underneath to his tight end, and a first down at the 23-yard line. Another catch for Clarence Kay, who blocked for Herschel Walker at the University of Georgia.
You can see why they've missed Clarence Kay so much when he's been out with an injury. He is not only a great blocker, but he has turned himself into a fine control receiver, and he's strong with that football after he catches it. He'll turn upfield and run right over people.
Dorsett out. That leaves only Sammy Winder in the backfield with Elway.
It's a good drive for Denver.
Protected well, then it's knocked in the air and complete. Deflected at the line of scrimmage. Jeff Stover, one of the 49ers in Elway's face.
Stover, another shot putter, didn't even play college football. They've got a couple of them on this team. The other thing they do have here is a bunch of people who can rush the passer. And George Seifert, who's the defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49er team, loves to get you in long yardage situations, brings those specialists onto the field, and sicks them on the quarterback.
We're talking with Bill Walsh about how the game has changed in the last 10 years, and he said, just in that regard, substitution by situation, the nickel packages. Elway guns it to Dorsett, incomplete. Good coverage. Jeff Fuller was right there with Dorsett.
Danny Stubbs, one of those flyers. Again, the blitz from Fuller, who comes up in a long yardage situation to almost a linebacking position, that nickel linebacking position. Great speed in on Elway before Elway could take more than a couple of steps.
3rd down and 10 at the 22. The second drive for Denver deep into 49er territory. The other ended in an end zone interception by McKyer. Elway complete to Vance Johnson at the 10-yard line. A 12-yard gain, and the Broncos continue their drive. Elway actually had the room to run for the 10, but saw Johnson break into the clear.
He made a smart play, though. He knew that he had the first down, and he had such confidence in his receivers and in his arm that he just zipped that football in there for the first down.
But they'll have to go the full 10 yards on first and goal. 10 tough yards to buy.
That's the bad news.
3-0 San Francisco, final seconds, first quarter. Little misdirection, and Sewell did not fool the 49ers. He stacked up right at the line of scrimmage.
A
Ricky
little
Ellison.
inside reverse play, and Ellison is so quick inside. Here the shot that ends the first quarter, and they'll change ends of the field.
Candlestick Park, they expect a possible record crowd today, near 65,000 fans. They've added some seats since last year, and the attraction of the Broncos, and Elway, who of course played his college ball in the Bay Area at Stanford, and a beautiful football day. Now the bad news for Denver, they are at the just inside the 10-yard line, and the ball is spotted on a loose area of new sod that covered the baseball pitching mound.
The other bad news is they're going to have to deal with that skinned area to the outside, and the footing is treacherous, and you see that Denver has not scored a touchdown in 7 quarters. Elway with 3rd and 10 or 2nd and 10 would love to put one in here.
To Natil, and broken up nicely. Tim McKyer, who made the interception in the first quarter in the end zone, really threw the blanket on Natil.
Absolutely a brilliant defensive play. Watch McKyer concentrating man-to-man. He just takes a quick peek and then goes up high right through the hands of Ricky Natil to take that football away from him. That is a fine, fine man-to-man defensive play.
So 3rd and goal for Denver. Johnson to the left. Sewell to the right. And so is Natil far right. Blitz. Lott coming on the blitz to throw to Sewell. Oh! And White juggle it in. Had his hands on it twice, but couldn't pull it in.
The same kind of blitz that Ronnie Lott used last week to sacrifice or to knock down Chuck Long. He timed it out. He didn't quite hit it, but still got great pressure in there. But Sewell had a chance at it. Bounced it, as you said, Dick, and almost controlled that football.
Rich Carlos, who had a busy Sunday at San Diego last week, 7 field goal tries, made 4 and missed 3 easy ones, gets a 27-yard attempt to tie.
He missed 2 off the skin turf in San Diego, so he's glad that at least he has some grass to kick off here.
And the game is tied as Carlos, who has missed only 3 all year, is now 11 for 14. 3-3 early in the second.
To you by Mazda and the exciting...
The Denver Broncos on a short field goal have tied it at 3-all, and now Carlos will kick it off. Taylor and DuBose at the goal line for San Francisco. It's a short kick. DuBose at the 15. And out to the 30. So a short Carlos kick, 15-yard return, and San Francisco in business at their 30-yard line. And a timeout.
Nobody likes compromises. Everybody wants a car that...
Settled for the field goal. Half-minute gone, second quarter. It's Rathman testing the center of the Denver defense out to the 34-yard line. Jim Ryan makes the tackle. Checking on other action around the NFL. Late games, Miami Raiders scoreless in the second. Pittsburgh Phoenix tied at 7. San Diego trying to surprise New Orleans 14-3 down to Jack Murphy Stadium. And here it's 3-all. Bill Walsh and Dan Reeves, the 49ers and the Broncos, with 14 minutes left in the half. A Underneath. Oh, almost intercepted. It was intended for Wilson, and it looked as if he hit Castile, who was looking at the man, not the ball.
Ball thrown behind the receiver, streaking across, and he had a little bit of room there as he had beaten Castile coming all the way across. But Montana did not get that ball in front of him, and that's one of Montana's great strengths is his accuracy. His ability to quickly read the defense, make the decision, and accurately deliver that football has separated him from so many quarterbacks around the league. That and his great ability to come back and come from behind, which is legendary.
And from injuries. 182 career touchdowns for number 16 Montana. And it's Wilson, Steve Wilson, from a safety position, drifting in to make the sack and a 7-yard loss.
A coverage sack in the sense that Montana did not find an open receiver, and he likes to drift to his right. He's kind of pushed back to his left in this case, and looks like he just is out of sync. Rathman had done a good job of holding off the blitzing Wilson right there, but couldn't hold him off long enough. He puts the rope on Montana and puts him down.
Barry Helton to punt as Montana will have to wait for another time. Wilhite at the other end, a wobbly boot. Wilhite into the sun at the 31. The former San Jose State star is down at the 38-yard line. 42-yard kick, 7 yards on the return by Wilhite, who has come back from an injury. Timeout, 13 left in the half. Welcome back to Candlestick Park. Sunny San Francisco. It's tied at 3 with 13.5 minutes remaining in the first half. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen. The Broncos with their sideline huddle have the football after the punt at their own 39-yard line.
They feel the advantage they get out of that is that the other team doesn't know who is coming in exactly, so they have to wait to send the defense onto the field.
Sewell in motion. It's Sammy Winder, no gain.
This is the kind of situation that the 49ers love. Second and long yardage. They'll be in their nickel package early, and they'll be coming after Elway, putting a squeeze on John Elway.
Interesting that Tony Dorsett has not had a carry thus far. Winder, that was his 4th rush.
Tony told me before the ball game he wanted to get more involved with the passing game. He said, I really kind of feel I can help with those short passes.
He does have 1 reception, 8 yards in the first quarter. 2nd and 10 Elway.
There it is.
Dorsett one-on-one, but he can't get away from Michael Walder, who wraps him up at the 37. A flag down, and they may have gotten a piece of the face mask.
Looks like, is that Danny Stubbs, 96, the last man out there? Personal foul, San Francisco defense. Boy, you don't want to do that. You got a man on the ground already. He's not going anywhere. No sense in piling on.
And instead of a loss of a couple of yards, it'll be a 15-yard mark off to the San Francisco 48-yard line and a first down.
Unnecessary roughness, number 96. 15 yards, first down.
Dick, the difference right now between the Tony Dorsett of 1988 and the Dorsett in his prime is not that he doesn't have good moves or good power or good strength, but he does not have the acceleration, does not have the leg strength. It used to be that he could just put that quick slide to the outside, and he was gone. You saw the pop right there at the end on Stubbs that got him the 15-yard penalty.
Rookie mistake by Stubbs from Miami. Elway to Johnson. Didn't quite turn in time to pick up the ball. It was catchable. Griffin on the coverage.
Johnson working with a dislocated foot or dislocated bone in the foot that makes it difficult for him. He's not quite back to speed as you look at him finish that pattern. And I'm sure that cutting and accelerating out of the break are problems for him. And I think that will destroy the timing between a good quarterback and his wide receivers.
A man open, and it's a first down at the 37-yard line. Vance Johnson with another catch and a 15-yard gain.
Bill Walsh said yesterday, as we talked about John Elway and the problems he has had, shook his head. He said, I hope that he doesn't come back and forget about all those difficulties against us. And certainly Elway off to a fine start in this game, even though he's had a few passes dropped and has overthrown occasionally, showing some good choices in his receivers and getting the football to them.
Check that, an 11-yard gain on the play on the first down. Whoops, a little mix-up. That's a bad sign for any offense, as now Elway is changing plays. 5 seconds on the shot clock.
He gets it off, and he fumbled it.
Yeah, as soon as you have that one mistake, it's almost inevitable, isn't it?
Elway's so upset in the fact that they had missed a couple of timeouts because they misfired, and I'm sure one of the things that they are talking about constantly is let's not lose those timeouts early. Let's go ahead and run the play if we possibly can, but he tried to hurry too fast on that one.
Roger Craig getting some work, maybe some cramp.
Flexibility, I think. They're just stretching out his lower back. I don't think he's hurt. I think he's just stretching him out.
Second down. Elway working from the skin part of the infield. They'll start siding tomorrow. Underneath to Kay, the big tight end, gets a couple of extra yards with second effort as he fought out of the grasp of Charles Haley and gets it to the 28.
A couple of big bulls working on each other. Haley, both of these teams, Simon Fletcher and Charles Haley, both lineman turned linebacker. And Haley has become a most proficient outside linebacker. Great blitzer, good pressure on the quarterback, strong at the point of attack, and it's showing you there that he can run with the receiver as well.
Third down, it's a long one, actually closer to 2 yards. Both Winder and Dorsett behind Elway. In trouble. Dumps it off to Kay. Nope, they said he was in the grasp and control. Elway back at the 44. Michael Walter got him. That took them out of a possible field goal.
We talked about the fact that Elway not escaping as well, and so many times over the years as we have watched Elway get away from situations like that and marveled at his ability to escape the pressure, has not been able to do that so far in 1988 with great regularity. He can still do it occasionally, but that's the kind of thing that he used to get away from almost without fail.
You think that's just age and all those?
I think maybe just the pounding is catching up with him, Dick, and he's losing a little of that great speed that he had.
So fourth down and 16. John Taylor at the 10. Moran has been brilliant in this situation, just dumping the ball inside the 20. A whistle's going to blow it dead. And look at that kick. It would have been out of bounds at the 1-yard line.
And they're going to, robbery of Moran, who put it out as well as you could kick the football. And now they're going to, well, you know they're going to take this penalty.
The NFL in all those kicking categories. Taylor, make that Griffin back.
That was a good one, too.
So for the 11th time, out of bounds at the 5-yard line with Moran. He's got the accuracy of a baseball pitcher. He's just hitting those sidelines. Timeout.
Send him to Las Vegas.
Leave it to the good hands.
Great year for NBC Sports. Montana play action in the end zone. Going for Taylor. He's got it at the 50 and dragged down at the 40. Haynes saved the touchdown, but Montana from his 5-yard line. Good play action.
John Taylor, back from a 30-day suspension for substance abuse, made his presence felt with that long punt return of 77 yards last week. And as they double cover Jerry Rice on the other side, he sprints away from single coverage by Mike Haynes right there, Mark Haynes, and gets the big reception down to the 41.
Well, 50 yards for Montana on a perfect throw to Taylor. 3-all the score, 9 minutes to go, first half. It's Craig. Wrestled down by Michael Brooks, former linebacker at LSU, and what a win for the Bayou Tigers against Auburn last night.
Boy, you don't want to let Craig out to that outside. He has such great acceleration, and I think the thing that separates the great backs when they can get to the outside is very often the ability to sense the openings, those eyes, the ability to see the openings. He has great eyes when he gets to the outside.
In fact, he earned the nickname Catfish because his eyes are so big when you see pictures of him as he's carrying the ball. They're just wide open. And they are right now looking for the end zone. He's all the way to the 5-yard line, but a flag is down back at the 28.
I'm afraid they're going to signal a holding call against Jesse Sapolo.
Bringing it back, it is a hold.
Jesse, who does such a great job, as both of those guys, McKyer and Sapolo, do.
And there's an injured Bronco involved in the tackle down at the 5-yard line.
Holding, 74 offense, 10 yards. It's still second down.
Steve Wallace.
Steve Wallace, not Sapolo. Both there on the spot. We can't see the number on the injured Bronco. Steve Antonopoulos, the trainer, out to look at him. Watch the left-hand side. You get Sapolo driving to the outside. Wallace right there, 74, right in the middle of your screen, and you see him with a handful of shirts. But look at that great pull away there. Craig accelerating and getting away. Robbins, 28, Jeremiah Castile, the injured player, number 28, and it looked like he grabbed his left shoulder as he rolled underneath. It was Randy Robbins. Maybe we can see the end of that play again. Randy Robbins rolled over the top of Jeremiah Castile, and it looked like Castile was grabbing his left shoulder. Here's the play. Watch number 48 coming in from the right-hand side of your screen, and there's Castile. Now, as he rolls over the top, you see the shoulder. Watch Castile reach for that shoulder right there.
Jeremiah Castile injured, and it's already a very soft, wounded, deep secondary for Denver with the loss of Dennis Smith. And Bruce Plummer is not in uniform today. And Dan Reeves
just shaking his head. He said, how many are we going to lose? They have really been battered. Joe Collier, the defensive coordinator, having to do a smoke and mirrors trick with this Denver defense, and yet they have played very well the last 2 weeks.
There's Joe Collier, the defensive wizard of the Broncos. He's been in the American Football League and the AFC throughout his career, longest ever seniority in that regard. When they hand out the watches, Collier's going to be first in line.
He's not going to have to give him a watch. He's going to be here forever, I think.
He's the Big Ben. Castile out, and Steve Wilson has replaced him on the corner, and you can bet Montana will go to work on Wilson. Sidney trying to throw. Sidney downfield to Rice. Drops the ball. He had a touchdown in his mitts. It was a little short, but Rice won't lose many of those.
Sometimes when a man is covered, the unintentional short pass becomes the perfect pass. It was in this situation, as Rice, who knew where the ball was able to cut back underneath the coverage, but couldn't keep his hands on the football.
The play that the 49ers used last year successfully. Harry Lanroy Sidney III to Jerry Rice. Third down and 9. Montana to Rice. Jerry Rice to the 1-yard line. 6-yard line. Check that to 6.
A fine block at the end of that run by John Taylor, number 82. Allowed for some extra room for Rice, but he doesn't need much. What a powerful runner. I've got to tell you, it scared the heck out of you. Here comes Jerry Rice all the way across the field underneath, and it's about a 3-yard pass. Look what he does. Look at that powerful running stride. There was the block briefly at the top of your picture. The Rice all the way down just inside the 7-yard line. First and goal.
Hustling tackle by Carl Mecklenburg trailing the play. First and goal. Montana to Wilson. And the other Wilson was there to knock it away. Steve Wilson from Mike. Not related.
Working on Castile's shoulder on the sideline.
A reminder, our viewers will have the Budweiser Most Valuable Player in today's game. That'll be announced at the conclusion.
From Castile's reaction as we were watching him, I don't think the news is good about getting back into this ballgame.
Second and goal. Montana brings him up. It's tied at 3. 7 minutes to go. Second quarter. Big Craig. Rice is out of the end zone. Clearly out of the end zone. He had beaten Steve Wilson, but was unable to stay in that 10-yard patch.
Bill Walsh's offense always greatly imaginative. All kinds of people moving. Watch the bootleg fake here. You've got to honor Craig's running ability. Montana drifting to his right as he does so well, and that's a perfect play, except for the fact that Rice only had 1 foot barely inside the end zone. The other one clearly in that white stripe.
What did his college coach, Archie Cooley, say about him? He could catch a BB at night.
Well, I tell you, he has great hands and great concentration. What an asset.
Out of Mississippi Valley State. Quarterback draw. Touchdown, Montana.
The two plays that I feared most as a defensive lineman were the quarterback draw and the quarterback rollout. You're playing so many things. As you see Joe Collier just shaking his head and saying, hey, you got to look for that quarterback coming up inside. But you've got Roger Craig blasting outside. You've got Jerry Rice coming on one side. And all of a sudden, room up the middle.
Cofer's tried for point, a high snap, but a good hold. As Hilton, the punter, or check it, Young, the backup quarterback Steve Young spots it, and the 49ers lead it by 7.
It is an
10 on the draw.
Boy, I'll tell you, look at the room inside. When you stretch your defense, as we just turn it loose and go ahead and run it. Watch Montana. They're stunning on the right-hand side. The man who's supposed to come in and fill does not arrive. That's 71 Cragen. And, of course, Mecklenburg had run to the outside, run himself out of the play. Montana almost walked into that end zone.
So Montana, who started the drive with that pass from his own end zone, 55 yards to Taylor, and completes it with a 6-yard draw as they go 95 yards in 8 plays.
Horizon to horizon.
Here comes Natil, feeling his way to the 20. And the tackle by Jim Fawnhorse, 55 of San Francisco. You don't get many of those 95-yard drives for scores, but it was Montana with big plays, 55 yards to Taylor. Then that pass to Jerry Rice on 3rd and 9 was good for 33 yards. And then on 3rd and goal, the draw works perfectly. Jeremiah Castile back to the dressing room. X-rays on the shoulder is the word. No official announcement beyond that. You like this idea of the sideline huddle?
I think it's a good one. I don't think you lose anything, and I think you gain a little surprise element, at least a few seconds timing, and the defense very often will respond by calling the defense audibly, but it may make a difference in the personnel out there. So, yes, I like it. Blitz. Look out.
Just does get rid of it as he was being pressured hard by Michael Walder, who came in untouched.
One of the things that Dan Reeves worried about was their ability to pick up the wide variety of blitzes that would be thrown at them by the 49ers today. And, of course, that particular play stressful as they were not able to pick it up.
The Dolphins, their defense has really developed as you predicted it would at the start of the season. Merlin 14-0 at Los Angeles. Phoenix with a 3-point lead against Pittsburgh at home. And San Diego's 14-0 lead is melded away to just a 1-point advantage. Here it's 10-3 San Francisco. 6.5 minutes remaining in the first half. 2nd and 10 for Elway. Lots of time, and then from behind. Brought down by 94 Charles Haley.
3rd sack of the day on Elway, as Haley, who has proven to be a most effective sacker and blitzer, able to streak in and then just reach back as Elway's trying to run out of his grasp. Watch the way he just leaps out and grabs Elway by the back of the shirt. Looks like he's out of the picture. Look at him right there. The back of the shirt. That's the clothes hanger there. pulls him down from behind.
So a half dozen sacks for Haley on the year to lead the 49ers. 3rd and long. Elway having trouble with his footing. And down he goes at the 21, where it'll be 3rd and 9, and the punting team comes on, and the fans cheer the 49er defense.
Ronnie Lott, who had scolded the fans here about their involvement in the game, doing some cheerleading. I'll tell you, the 49er defense and the 49er offense taking charge here in the second quarter.
Well, there was 2 plays in that sequence, Merlin, that again underlines your point that it's a different Elway. He doesn't quite have that extra half step or strength to break away from the tackler in the open field. Horan booms a spiral deep to Taylor at his 26. Watch out! And only because he was jammed in traffic is Taylor stopped at the 47-yard line of Denver. Otherwise, he might have had another punt return for a score. And there's an injured Bronco on the play.
55, Rick Dennison, I believe, starting linebacker, who's quickly tended to by the trainers. And a second Bronco down, closer to us on the sideline. We can't see the number yet on the other Bronco.
Boy, the rash of injuries hitting all teams, particularly the quarterback position, where 4 more quarterbacks were knocked out of action today.
We talked in our pregame show about the danger to the quarterbacks, but it is getting to be a more and more physical game. Let's see if we can see who the injuries go down. That was Bishop, 54, one of the players. Hard to tell. Boy, there's a lot of crashing going on inside.
Dennison is off under his own power. There are the 4 quarterbacks as the attrition continues at that position.
Frightening. We talked to Marty Schottenheimer early in the year, the last preseason game, and he was talking about Ernie Accorsi, their general manager, saying the 3rd quarterback was an important role on that roster. They are now going to a 4th quarterback. I don't even know who that is.
Don
Kosar is down.
Don Strock is
all right,
4th.
Danielson is down. Pagel is down, and now Don Strock will become their 4th quarterback of the year, going into their 6th game, and actually into their 5th game.
And they say now Kosar, it may be another month before he returns. And the Browns today, one of the teams that were favored to make it through the playoffs on the AFC side, were defeated by the Seattle Seahawks 16-10. Largent, by the way, continued his streak. He had at least 1 catch. That's 158 games for Largent.
That was Mark Mumford, number 51, another linebacker who was helped to the sideline. So 2 linebackers hurt on that play.
Good field position for the 49ers. Roger Craig. Mecklenburg got a piece of him first, and it's Craig short yardage to the 43. Michael Brooks also in on the play, a gain of 4.
The philosophy of this Denver defense is to shift around just before the snap of the ball. You see them moving. You'll see them trying to stunt their people left and right. The philosophy being that they're not as physical. They're not able to match up man-to-man, especially with this 49er offensive line, which is much bigger. And Collier tries to design ways to protect his people from those man-to-man confrontations.
Rathman wrapped up nicely by 61, Andre Townsend, Mississippi graduate. And boy, that Ole Miss, what a win for them at Alabama. A rare victory for the Rebs in Tuscaloosa.
Townsend, who is a very physical player for one that's not huge in size. His quickness, his biggest asset. Quickly to those gaps, uses good leverage, good hand slap.
3rd down and 4. Montana to Rathman, breaks the tackle of Ryan and has the 1st down inside the 30.
Montana so quick at reading the defense. His eyes were right all the way. He's looking to his right all the way, but seeing the defense, knew that Rathman was going to be open to the left. Now watch him. Looking to his right, just a quick look right there, and then all the way back over this way. And boy, I'll tell you, it's hard to stay with a guy when you see the quarterback looking the other way. Jim Ryan, number 50, just ticking the toes of Rathman. But he still made good yardage, picked up the 1st down.
Rathman outweighing Ryan, the linebacker lighter by almost 10 pounds. Leading 10-3 late in the first half. Montana goes through, and Wilson. And it was broken up. Mike Harden and Steve Wilson there at the goal line for Denver.
Pair of Wilson's banging shoulders with help from Harden, but Montana really in control of this ball game. Things are working for the 49ers right now, and this is when he's at his best. He has all the options on his side. Brooks, the blitz, took a little bit of his time, but that ball briefly in the hands of Wilson, who had a chance at the touchdown.
Mike Wilson, who played at Washington State, has 15 catches coming in, 3 of those for touchdowns, and he's going to get a lot of single coverage because of the attention paid to Jerry Rice. Roger Craig. Harden finally bulldogs him at the 14-yard line. Another first down, 14 more for Craig.
A great lead block by Tom Rathman, who cut Jim Ryan, number 50, right off his feet. You should see it at the right-hand side of your picture as Rathman, well, he's outside of your picture. You'll see the result of it. There's the stack up right there. Just took Ryan right off his feet, and Roger Craig did the rest. Bulldog down by Harden on the sideline, but has the 1st and 10.
Well, what a player Craig is. Every game the 49ers have played, he's gained at least 100 yards, receiving and rushing. Montana intercepted at the line of scrimmage. One of the linemen going up and putting it down. It's Boyer, Walt Boyer, the defensive end from Arizona State, leaping up to try to deflect the ball, and it's stuck right in those big mitts ahead.
Too much time for Joe Montana. That's one of those where you see the guy and he's open. You know he's got a touchdown if you can get it there. Watch him. You'll see the receiver break open coming from the right-hand side. Montana sees him, tries to just take it over the top. And there was the receiver briefly on the right-hand side. But Boyer able to go up into the air and put his hands on that one. That's a basketball play if you ever saw one.
And what a huge play in this game as Montana driving the 49ers toward what appeared to be a lead of 17-3. Instead, the interception by Boyer, and Denver stops him at the 14.
I think it's an offsides on Carter.
2:55 left in the half. And incomplete as they went long for Vance Johnson.
And Dick, that's so characteristic of this Denver defense over the years, as they have been able to come up with a turnover as the team was pushing down toward that end zone. A turnover, an interception, a fumble, something to get the play, get the drive stopped.
He was, Boyer one time was flirting with the raising rattlesnakes, so he was kind of shaking the tail there of that one.
He sure reached up and bit Montana. Montana saw a touchdown all the way. That's a call against Michael Carter, his 2nd offsides of the day, and you say, how can a nose tackle be offsides? Again, Carter eager to get in and put the pressure on Elway, a little bit jumpy. Maybe Billy Bryant, who's a veteran of many campaigns, put a little squeeze on that ball to get him moving.
You know well, you had your nose right there many a time, right over the center. Draw play to Dorsett. Out to the 23-yard line, short of a first down. Tony Dorsett, now number 2 all-time in NFL rushing, behind Walter Payton. He leads the Broncos with 345 yards on the ground, and that's 2nd best in the AFC. And there are the numbers as he has passed Jim Brown and Franco Harris into the runner-up spot to Payton.
Got a little stretch to catch up with young Walter.
Walter might come back and play again.
Yeah, if he gets close, he might do it. Dorsett actually older than Walter, isn't he?
That's right, he is. Dorsett, and a flag goes down as he was stopped right at the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard gain. Larry Roberts, number 91, who played at Alabama, in to make the tackle. They can ill afford that. It comes with 2:01 remaining in the half.
Would have been 3rd and short, very short. I'm sure they'll take the penalty, would make it about 2nd and 12, moving Denver into extremely long yardage and allowing George Seifert to put his pass rushing specialists out on the field.
Now, you talked about the injuries on the NFL Live show today, the quarterbacks, and a lot of theories, and you offered your own. And the defensive packages now, anytime you're looking at 2nd down and more than 6-7 yards, you're going to see the extra defensive backs and those big safeties that play at a linebacker position. Is that part of the problem?
Certainly is. You've got some people who are so capable of getting that real speed rush on a quarterback, of coming with incredible speed and slam them down.
Charge, timeout, San Francisco.
San Francisco going to use a timeout at the 2:01 mark. It's an interesting call. What you're saying then, Merlin, is that the advantage when you get let's take a guy like Ronnie Lott. You see 42. When he's able to move up near the line of scrimmage and just charge full speed and that quarterback doesn't see him, someone has to be hurt, and the quarterback absorbs all the blow.
He's taking some real shots, and it's very difficult now when you can move as many people up and get those rushers or blitzers coming from so many different directions. It's hard to devise a package to protect that quarterback completely. And of course, he is totally vulnerable when he's back there to throw the football. I don't know, and I said it earlier today in our pregame show, how you can protect that quarterback more within the framework of the rules without making some kind of dramatic change. And I said somewhat facetiously, why not add a 12th player to the offense? I mean, they literally, so much of what has happened has made it difficult to play the game of defense. About all that's left for them was to attack the quarterback.
And that they have. He's really taking the brunt of it. So after the holding penalty, second down, Elway, is there a flag on that? Yes. Yeah, that was an early hit, or at least it appeared to be.
Natil applauding the call, but you saw the pressure. Lott coming on the outside, and that's exactly what we talked about.
Return, defense, number 21.
Eric Wright, an extra defensive back, former starter. A little too quick in his hit. Let's see it.
Here's the isolation, and you'll see the bump before the ball arrives. Natil driving right off, and there it is without question. Now the defender is allowed to touch that wide receiver, but he cannot change his direction at all.
And there's the 2-minute timeout with 1:50. Elway, who completed his first 5 passes, has hit only 6 of 18 cents. And he's under pressure again. Throws it right in the hands of the 49ers. Tina Turner at the 35-yard line. Orson Mobley made the tackle.
That's the kind of play that's gotten Elway in trouble all during this 1988 season. The pressurized throw, the bad choice, the kind of pass that's not going to get him out of trouble, that's only going to get him into the soup. His 10th interception of the year against just 5 touchdowns.
Actually, his 11th.
11th. He's got an earlier one today. That's 11 for him. And boy, those numbers just continue to mount. He's got heat right here, just trying to make the big play when it's possible that all he could have done or should have done is just gotten a little bit extra and gone to the ground.
So from the 34, they mark it. San Francisco, after losing the ball on the interception deep in Denver territory, it's Rathman plowing to the 29-yard line. 1:42 and the clock running. Remember, San Francisco used 1 timeout just before the 2-minute warning.
Tina Turner, so important in this game, has come back off severe and strong knee surgery. Still having some trouble with that knee, but very effective as a leader and the linebacker.
Montana to Rathman in the flat. Good open field tackle at the 27-yard line by Randy Robbins of the Broncos. And time is called by San Francisco. That is their second timeout with 1 and 2. Montana hit as he throws. Rice can't get it. Jerry Rice streaking clear in the end zone. And Montana was leveled as he released the ball.
And he's still on the ground. And boy, that is the kind of blow that has put out a lot of quarterbacks this year. From the blind side, number 75, Rulon Jones, who had 1 sack earlier in this game. Oh, it's not Rulon Jones. Rulon coming from the other side. It's Randy Robbins, who came up with that big tackle earlier.
That's what we're talking about here.
That's
the
exactly
defensive
right.
back in clean, unprotected the quarterback, and he has to take that blow. Steve Young to hold for Koper. And this will be a long one, 43 yards.
Some breeze out there, too.
Uh-oh. And a problem. Although Young, a fine runner. Let's see if he can make something out of it. Cannot. He's out of bounds at the 31-yard line. So Denver on the muff snap saves another 3 points. So they have been dodging bullets. The Broncos here late in the half as Montana was intercepted on a little soft pass by a defensive lineman, and now the execution on the snap.
Snap by Cross, the center here, and let's see, just out of the reach, looked like it was off to the left, and Young, who has excellent hands, pulled down a high one earlier trying to find a receiver, and that's when you call, hey, Geronimo, something, get somebody downfield. Nobody responded, and you practice that during the week, but nobody got out there for Young.
So Denver, with 1 minute 3 seconds remaining in the half, gets another chance to cut into the San Francisco lead. A little shovel pass to Gerald Wilhite out to the 43-yard line. That'll be good enough for a first down. Jeff Stover made the tackle, 11 yards on the play. No huddle, 50-49. You see, that's the official clock. Right back into his face, and then he just bats it down. He could have caught it, but would have been for a loss, and he wisely just knocks it down incomplete, and that stops the clock. Did two good things. One, avoided the loss. Two, stopped the clock. 38 seconds to go.
Most importantly, wants to avoid the turnover, and he's had a couple of costly ones here today to add to that total on the year that's getting a little frightening.
At halftime, Len Berman, that's a yeoman job. Well, a lot of us were over in Seoul. Paul McGuire, I don't know, but I didn't get a report on him yet. And Gail Gardner, who was brilliant in Seoul, will be with us at halftime. Shovel pass again to Gerald Wilhite. Fool Michael Barty.
Good play. Actually,
Stubbs. Danny Stubbs. Yes, 96.
Danny Stubbs out of Miami, who does such a good job of rushing that passer. That's what they brought him in here for. But he alertly has to bother him is the fact that they lost 3 of their offensive coaches. Not only Mike Shanahan, but Alex Gibbs, the line coach, and Nick Nicolai, who is also one of those offensive coaches. The 3 of them gone at once, I think, have really hurt this Denver offense.
And Mark Jackson is one of his 3 amigos also.
He's had, well, injury problems to add to that.
3rd down and 7 for Elway out of the shotgun. Down he goes again. And it's Stubbs, the rookie, with a sack, the 4th sack of the half, and Elway is getting up slowly.
Boy, he was twisted on that one.
Charles Haley from one side and Stubbs from the other.
Outside pressure. They're coming in. They're just driving in on Elway. Haley from the right-hand side just pushes over the top of Juriga. Just drives him back. No chance. Stubbs coming in there just blitzing. Boy, I tell you, those just like a pincher. Just like closing a pair of pliers on poor John Elway that time.
So Haley gets the sack, his 2nd of this game and 7th of the season. Elway not really protected well. Didn't have much time to search out a receiver. 38 touchdowns, 25 interceptions the last 2 years, taking the Broncos to the Super Bowl. This year, 5 and 11. You can't hide that statistic.
You can't, and you have to go back to Elway's first 2 years in the league to find that kind of disparity. It was at a time when Elway didn't know what he was doing back there, was making bad choices and bad decisions. Suddenly, for whatever reason, he's pushing again. He's trying to force it, trying to make the big plays. He's making bad choices. It's showing up in the interception column.
Here's Horan, the NFL's top punter this year, with Taylor back at the 23-yard line. Ooh, that ball flattens out as it comes down at the 30 and down at the 29-yard line as the 49ers had a block on. 19 seconds left in the half. See if San Francisco take a shot at a long pass to get into field goal range. Only 33 yards for Horan. That's got to be his worst punt, and the wind suddenly picks up, and he was kicking into it.
Kicking into a fierce wind, and when the wind comes into this park, it tends to circle, so it becomes a dangerous wind, not only for the kickers, but also for the passers as well, because that ball tends to move around.
Well, the 49ers lead 10-3, but could well have been in front 20-3 at this point. Walt Boyer, the defensive end, intercepting Montana at the 14 of the Broncos. Then Turner getting it right back for San Francisco, only to find the field goal attempt. Trouble on the execution of the snap and hold. So Montana looking for something to get in field goal range. Goes to Craig, who's knocked out of bounds out at the 41-yard line. 15 seconds left. Now the clock continuing to run. Something's wrong there because you saw the official call timeout with 15 seconds to go, but the clock continued to run. Jim Tunney, the referee, noting that immediately, and will make the correction.
He's down 6 seconds on the clock, 14 seconds remaining on the clock. 1-4-14. 14 seconds on the clock, please.
And so it will be. Need to get down at least to the 30 of Denver for a reasonable field goal try. 49ers do a lot of good work downfield with their wide receivers, don't they?
Jerry Rice will throw a block here as Guidry will come up to put Craig out of bounds. Guidry in there, I'm sure, because of that injury we saw earlier to Jeremiah Castile.
Mike Kofer replaced Ray Wersching, longtime place kicker of the 49ers this year. Kofer from North Carolina State. Denver defense playing very, very loose, so Montana will go underneath. And it's to Rice to the 40, tackled by Jim Ryan. 5 seconds.
Why no timeout here? Have they used them?
They apparently have.
Yes,
because
they
the clock
have.
runs out, and that's the end
They have.
of the first half. And a strange first half it was. Elway starting red hot, completing 5 for 5.
Not the kind of numbers that you would expect if you looked on this scoring board. And as you said earlier, could well be that those points could be much, much higher for the 49ers.
Roger Craig, the leading rusher, as we said, 42 yards in the first half. He had another big gain called back because of a penalty. And we'll have the start of the second half. Denver getting the ball first. And the breeze, which was
not the kind of numbers that you would expect if you looked on this scoring board. And as you said earlier, could well be that those points could be much, much higher for the 49ers.
Roger Craig, the leading rusher, as we said, 42 yards in the first half. He had another big gain called back because of a penalty. And we'll have the start of the second half. Denver getting the ball first. And the breeze, which was really non-existent at the start of the game, might be a factor in this second half.
They're going to have to hold the ball on the tee. It won't even stay there. Look at those flags, and it's, I think, the breeze even more vicious at field level. The young ladies had a hard time with their flags.
This kickoff is sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beers. And it swirls down to Bell at the goal line. Ken Bell of the Broncos has a seam and gets to the 26-yard line. Now John Elway and the Bronco offense comes on the field. Elway 13 for 27, and you look at third quarter scoring, and San Francisco has enjoyed this period while Denver sluggish. And for the Broncos, they've now gone 8 quarters and an overtime without scoring a touchdown. Going all the way back to that really heartbreaker when they lost to the Raiders. That is, I'm not sure they really recovered totally emotionally from that loss when they had the Raiders beaten 24-0 at the half. Elway buying some time on the rollout and steps out of bounds at the 31-yard line, a gain of 5.
This Denver Bronco team has relied so thoroughly on the talents of John Elway to bail them out. Reeves always gracious in his praise of Elway, but there's like two offenses. The offense that would start with, and they'd run a play, and when it broke down, then you took over with Elway's offense. And it was often that second offense, the great improvising of Elway, that made the difference for the Broncos in the ballgame.
That's right, Merlin. We heard it from coach after coach facing Denver. How do you keep Elway, contain Elway? He could beat you by manufacturing points. Sammy Winder dropped for a loss. Michael Carter, the all-pro nose tackle.
Carter working on Billy Bryant, the center, and he is so quick to the gap, just sliding off and being there almost ahead of Winder on that play.
3rd down and 6, and so in comes that nickel package for the 49ers.
You'll see it on the right-hand side of your screen. Number 95, all by himself, had dumped Billy Bryant on the ground to get the solo tackle.
Elway, 3 wide receivers to the right, and now he brings Sewell in back as a protector. over the middle and
Dropped the football.
Ricky Nattiel unable to hang on at the 37-yard line. Eric Wright on the coverage as they went with 6 defensive backs.
So often this first offensive series will set the tone, and if that's the case, Denver is in trouble. They have certainly not done anything to change the momentum in this ball game here in the first series of the second half.
Don Griffin, 29, and 82 John Taylor drift back as Haran to punt. He kicked 4 times for a 45-yard average in the first half. This one up in the wind. Taylor able to spin away from the first man downfield and then is tackled at the 30-yard line.
Great kick into that wind. Great kick.
42 yards on the kick, a 2-yard return. So there's your 40-yard net.
Sam Grady, the sprinter, was the man that was down there to try that first tackle. It just missed him. You got to catch him like the football, Sam. You got to catch him.
Roger Craig looking for 6 straight games of 100 yards total offense. 55 in the first half, so he's on course. And he gets the call on the first play of the second half. Good yardage before he's out of bounds at the 37-yard line. Jim Ryan makes the hit, a 7-yard pickup.
Coming into this ball game, Craig averaging 4.9 a carry, which is a huge average for a running back. Well, look at him just little dip inside. Ryan doing a good job, number 50, of getting off the blocker to push to the sideline.
On 2nd and 3, Craig with a first down and more.
Look out.
All the way to the 48 of Denver.
Acceleration and leg strength. Roger Craig just showing you both of those as he pulls out of a tackle and just pops through that opening.
15 more yards. He said, as a halfback, I have to be more patient, read that defense, and then react, not just react.
Mecklenburg, who was the man who missed the tackle there.
And there's Mecklenburg as he's taken out. Boy, it's got to be so tough. Look at that right hand with that heavy bandage. He's really playing one-handed. On first down after a 15-yard game, Montana. Wide open, incomplete. Mike Wilson, and the wind really carried that ball, drifted it.
And this is where playing in this stadium certainly an advantage. Montana and his troops know the tricky winds here, but when it's blowing like this, it's too tricky even for Montana.
So it's 2nd and 10. Carl Mecklenburg back in.
Boy, that wind is strong enough to almost pick the football right up and lift it off on its own.
Really swirling the dirt off the baseball infield. Here comes Craig. Ryan can't get him. Mike Harden knocks him out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Another first down. And Craig running rampant. Rabid Roger Craig here in the 3rd quarter.
Craig just running right through an opportunity for a tackle by Jim Ryan. And Ryan has slowed a little bit. Not able to get there. Not able to put even a half-hearted tackle on Craig on that play. And another defensive back down for Denver.
Tyrone Braxton.
Boy, that is horrible news. The Broncos decimated already. They've had real trouble holding people together. There's the missed tackle by Ryan. And you can't arm tackle Craig. You've got to wrap and hook. Look at him dip and just drive. He's still not on the ground. Braxton looks like he'll be back into this game, but the Broncos so thin at this point that you wonder who they're going to put into this ball game.
Roger Craig with 78 yards now rushing in the game. That puts him over 500 yards for the year. He's 6 feet tall and down from 224, weighs around 212 now. Hit in the backfield, still breaks free, and the second man, Simon Fletcher, along with Mecklenburg, able to make the tackle. Mecklenburg finally wrestled him down.
The first hit by Walt Boyer, who was slanting inside. And one of the things that Joe Collier will do when he has that defense slanting, they'll occasionally get a good seam, pop free. And when you get a shot like that, you got to put it back down on the ground. Make him fumble if you can. There's the signal going in. One of the difficult parts of this Denver defense, it's so complex that you don't just step in and play it.
Second down and 11. Montana off a play fake. Underneath to Craig. And Craig, who leads all receivers, 35 catches coming into the game. That's his first catch today. It goes second catch. Goes for 6 yards. And a dust storm off the southern end of Candlestick Park, the baseball end.
A virtual hurricane here, and Joe Montana thought he was hit by a hurricane that time as Sean Knight leveled him just as he threw that football, and he got up a little bit groggily, but he's gotten back into the huddle now. Takes the signal from Steve Young on the sideline and drops down into the huddle.
Third down, a short 6. Leading 10-3. Early in the third quarter. Over the middle to Rice. And he has a first down. A flag is down, however, where one would suspect holding. Randy Robbins made the tackle. Let's see if it counts.
And it is against the 49ers. You saw the frustration, the instant reaction of both Walsh and Montana. So hard to get a completion with that wind howling. And playing in this stadium, you almost have to prepare a team like you would a cold weather team. There are going to be days when you have to rely on the running game and those short passes.
It's like 2 different days. The first half,
74 offense, 10 yards, 1 down.
you can hear the wind through the microphone of Jim Tunney. Well, on this day where the Oakland A's across the bay are in the World Series, let's see what else is happening. Back to New York.
All right, Dick, thank you. Not far from you, the Oakland A's have done it. The 4-game sweep over the Red Sox. The final score was 4-1. You're watching the final out. Eckersley pitching to Jody Reed to Mike Gallego for the final out. The final 4-1 as the Oakland A's sweep. Let's go back to Dick and Merlin.
And the home run hitter for the 49ers, Roger Craig, down to the 30 to 29-yard line. After the penalty, he gets the holding yardage back, but it is short of the first down and brings up 4th down, and the field goal unit comes on.
Craig showing you again that great leg strength, and that's one of the ways that you measure a running back is by how many tackles they can pull out of, how many tackles they can avoid, and Craig doing a great job of that here today.
This is going to be a difficult kick for Coper with the swirling winds. It's a 47-yard attempt.
It is downwind, however. I mean,
if indeed it's a true downwind. I'm not sure how that's the way it swirls here. Look at that.
Look at the grass wiggle on this one. It's going to be tough to snap. The Randy Cross is going to have his hands full getting it back on the snap.
And you'll remember the last snap went right through Steve Young's hands. In fact, so windy at 47 yards, that Denver defense may be reminding themselves, watch out for a fake. Coper hit from 37 yards in the first quarter. It's 10-3, San Francisco. It is, hits the upright and bounces back, no good. Boy, if anything, I thought it would drift to the left. It stayed right on the right upright all the way. Timeout. Park, a factor in the second half as Denver, after the missed field goal, takes over just inside their 30-yard line, trailing 10-3. Tony Dorsett for a yard, maybe 2. Dorsett has not been a factor today. The great star out of Pittsburgh. He, in comparison to Roger Craig, who has 87 yards on the ground, the Broncos managing but 36 as a team.
Not much in the way of productivity, and that's the bad news. The good news, Elway one play away from being able to tie this game up, and certainly for the domination that the 49ers have had, they have not had it on the scoreboard.
It's like the 49ers getting the bases loaded 3 straight innings and not getting any runs in. It stays at 10-3. Elway protected a little better, and then it's deflected. He's trying to throw around the defensive charge and couldn't get his pass upfield.
Well, you'd think that the wind would be at the backs of the Denver Broncos for the fourth quarter, but that's not guaranteed here in this stadium. You never know which way the wind is going to be blowing. All you know right now is that it's in Elway's face, and it's going to make it very difficult to throw the football.
Looks like Jeff Stoper might have gotten a piece of that. Number 72. The flags are not necessarily a true test of wind direction.
We do know it is blowing very hard.
Elway from behind, able to wiggle free and throw upfield, complete to Vance Johnson, and a first down at the 47. Johnson wide open.
Now that's the kind of play that we have watched Elway make so many times, pulling out of traffic, getting away from what appeared to be a sure sack, and then making the accurate throw. Vance Johnson right there to pick up this first down.
He was so wide open, he was surprised no one hit him early.
I think he expected one of those safeties, Ronnie Lauder Fuller, to put a helmet in his back when he caught that one.
In fact, it was Larry Roberts, defensive lineman, who came to down him. At the 47, first down, 8 minutes, 50 seconds left, third quarter. Denver trails San Francisco 10-3. Winder finds a hole. 40, 35 with a blocker. Johnson trying to help him out, and out of bounds goes Winder at the 17-yard line. That's the biggest running play of the day for the Broncos. Almost equals the entire total. 35 yards for Winder.
You're going to have a chance as we start this play and open it up. Let Orson Mobley come in on the left-hand side of your picture. Let it start just for a second here. Wind it, guys, if you would. Stop it right there. Orson Mobley is going to lead in here and throw a great block to lead that play. Watch him right there. He seals it off inside. Good job by Bishop. And then Winder just pops it loose to make a big, big gain.
Vance Johnson downfield to try to help with a block. First down at the 17 of San Francisco. Winder again spinning and fighting to the 11-yard line. So Winder's around the 70-yard mark rushing at this point. Michael Walder first with a hit for San Francisco. Here's Walder, played at Oregon. Was the #1 tackler for the 49ers last year. Was originally drafted by the Cowboys in 1983. They released him.
This is the area of the field that the Broncos have had trouble. They've had trouble getting it into the end zone. They need the touchdown.
Winder again. Around the ankles and a flag down. They may call a late hit on number 75, Kevin Fagan. Ricky Ellison had the ball carrier on the ground, and Fagan appeared to be a step late on his hit.
Tunney warning Keith Karts to move off. Karts obviously angry at what was happening, as the call will indeed go against the San Francisco 49ers. Move the ball to a first down position inside the 5-yard line.
Tunney measuring the sidelines. It's half the distance to the goal.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 75. Half the distance of the goal line, first down.
It was Fagan. So first and goal at the 4 for a team that has not scored a touchdown in 8 quarters plus an overtime.
The end of that play, at the top of your screen, you saw Fagan, number 75, stacking. He drew the flag.
Oops, movement by the Bronco offensive line, no play. Before the snap, someone on the left side, Dave Studdard, who has just been activated, the veteran from Texas, playing on the end position to the left.
Playing a third tight end in short yardage, and he makes a critical mistake.
70, offense, false start.
He's been on IR with a knee injury, and he came back, and his timing has got to be rusty. I got to tell you, that's a sour feeling. You know your team needs a touchdown. You sense his anger and frustration. There he is, just misjudging the snap count.
Boy, does that change the situation. First and goal at the 4 to first and goal at the 9. Winder, the only back behind Elway. And it's Winder again. He's been the workhorse on this drive, and he's close to the 5-yard line.
He picks up about 5 yards. That's the 5 they lost on the penalty. But the last 5 are going to be the toughest, and they've only got 3 downs to do it.
Coming in with a play from the sidelines as Mobley goes out is Tony Dorsett. Winder, 4 straight carries. This is the 27th possession since Denver has scored a touchdown. Dorsett That's not there. The 49ers will drop him for a big loss.
Virtually telegraphed on that play, and there were 9 49ers, 9 red uniforms out there. Watch the pursuit by this 49er defense. They read the play so quickly they were almost there ahead of Dorsett. You'll see Tony driving to the outside. Look at the number of 49er defensive players. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 in your picture, and only 1 blocker, and Tony Dorsett.
That wasn't a tackle. That was a team party. Now Dan Reeves looks at 3rd and goal from just inside the 10. Wilhite doesn't fool anybody. The 49ers really rising defensively, and now the Broncos and 49ers in a little push and shove. Haley was in the midst of it. Keith Bishop for Denver.
Could be that goes back to that earlier penalty when there were obvious anger, and the obvious anger and emotion just carried over. You saw Reeves talking to Vance Johnson, upset about something on that pattern. I think frustrated at the read that Johnson made on the defense, and he is still cooking Johnson on the sideline.
And yet they called 3 running plays from that 1st and goal situation. No passes.
Maybe missed the block.
Carlos will try a 27-yard field goal. He hit a 27-yarder in the first half. Into the wind. He's got it. So the Broncos get the field goal, but once again, a touchdown opportunity is lost. And it's Denver trailing by 4. From earlier today, the Jets, Seattle, and Indianapolis all winners. Houston, Green Bay, big first win of the year. Chicago 5-1. Rams are 5-1. Washington and Minnesota victorious. And the late games, Miami beating the Raiders at home. Phoenix apparently going to win again. Cardinals, one of the surprise teams of the year. And New Orleans has overcome an early 14-0 lead at San Diego. The Chargers leading 14-0 early. Boy, a short kick. Carlos almost missed it. A fair catch by Sidney at the 35-yard line.
He may have been trying an onside kick, knowing that wind would hold it up. Hard to tell whether that was deliberate or unintentional. If it was unintentional, it certainly was an ugly kick.
And Sidney very wisely calling the fair catch on the play.
Let's see what kind of power that Carlos brings to the ball. Well, it looked like it kind of slipped out of the hands of the holder just as Carlos got there.
Here's a reverse to Jerry Rice. They love this play. And the 49ers boomed out of bounds at the 46-yard line. He's okay. Bounces to his feet.
Boy, he really took a shot.
That's the 6th time that Rice has run the ball this year, and he has 71 yards for those 6 attempts.
Not a bad average for a runner. Watch the hit at the end of this play. Haynes and Harden, the 2 defensive players, and it's Haynes, 36, who just cracks him hard. Rice, tough. He's right back up off the ground.
First down at the 46 of San Francisco. Roger Craig to midfield. And maybe to the 49.
San Francisco 49ers, I think, feeling good about their success so far, Dick, and have the feeling that they're doing things they want to do. They're just not playing as well as they would like to play right now. It's got to be frustrating for them. For Bill Walsh, I think they're kind of the victims of great expectations, having been bumped out of the playoffs very rudely in the last 3 years. People here in San Francisco are saying, hey, get to the playoffs and get us another Super Bowl.
Here comes Craig, who has 92 yards in the game and close to the 100-yard mark as he's at the 45 of Denver and close to the 44, which would be a first down. I believe he's just shy.
There's some popping going on down on that field. Wilson right there up to blast Rice, and then Rice was going to go back and get him and got run over by one of his own linemen. Now that's frustrating.
Going to have to measure on the play. Well, you saw again with that close-up the power of Roger Craig. He really runs out of the old school. He defies you to bring him down.
He is a horse. You see how they're having to hold that football down to keep it from rolling with that wind howling, and you saw that it is short by about 2 feet, a foot and a half. Tunney will bring the ball out, bring a new ball out actually, and mark it. Let's see if they have to hold that ball down. They'll push it down and maybe dig a little hole for it. Now they're going to have to hold the ball on the turf until the center arrives to put his hand on it. Now you know that wind is howling down there.
Rathman is the lone setback behind Montana, 3rd and inches, and Montana straight ahead behind his veteran center Randy Cross, who played at UCLA, and Cross, who was an all-pro guard, now playing that center position. There he is, 6'3" and 265.
I'd say that's a fine offensive line, and Cross, the old-timer in that line, he's kind of the leader, calls those blocking combinations for Wallace and Sapolo and McIntyre and Barton. They are doing a good job of opening holes for, in particular, Roger Craig today, but also for Rathman. Rathman's had a couple of nice runs.
Craig was talking about that yesterday, how aggressive they are. Here's Rice on the reverse. The other one. Out of bounds at the 26-yard line. And his average continues to be flashy indeed. 16 more for Rice.
And it looked to me, Dick, that if he had cut back, he might have been able to get another 5 or 10 yards on that play. Maybe that solid hit on the opposite sideline made him think about going inside. But boy, look at the speed here. There is no question he's got to be the fastest man on the field. And there was the little coast out of bounds. I think if he'd have cut inside Wilson's block, could have made another 5 or 10 yards.
Ronnie Lott says he times at 4.6 until they put a ball in his hands, and then he suddenly is a 4.2.
Just like he had a jet engine on there.
On first down, it's Roger Craig twisted down at the 22, and that'll be right at the 100-yard mark, either 99 or 100 yards. Make it 101. Craig, who was the first ever in the National Football League to rush for over 1,000 yards and catch passes for over 1,000 yards. That was in '85, and he could do it again this year.
I wonder if this is like running in a marathon. When you're going downwind, it's going to be a little easier on you. They are definitely going downwind on this leg of the journey, and Montana would love to be able to get 7 points here.
Leading 10-6 with 3:23 left in the 3rd quarter. And it's Rathman. Well, that's a good name for a fullback, isn't it? Rathman. I mean, it just sounds ugly, mean, tough.
He is mean. Looks like he's shot out of a cannon sometimes when he comes up inside. And we talked about not wanting to tackle him anywhere but low. The other thing you don't want to do, if you're a linebacker in there and you see him coming in to block, you better just stack things up down low, because otherwise he'll take your hat right off your head.
3rd and 3. Inside is going to be very close at the 15-yard line.
Looks like he has gotten the first down, all a matter of the mark, but I think he's over the 15.
First down, says Tunney. Walt Boyer made the tackle.
And that's where that size advantage for this San Francisco 49er offensive line will pay its biggest dividends. They said they really simplified their running game for the Broncos. They tried to just use a few core plays, similar to the philosophy that the Washington Redskins used so effectively in the Super Bowl last year.
Now, this is the #1 offensive team in the NFL, the 49ers, and they're looking at another 400-yard day, although Craig gets only a yard on first down. Simon Fletcher, number 73, played at Houston, makes the stop. But they have only 10 points to show for all that yardage.
They need a touchdown here. Another field goal would not be that great a help. They would still be within a touchdown range of the Denver Broncos. They've got to be thinking of stretching that lead. And I said it earlier, when you have that many opportunities and you don't cash in, you create real problems for yourself.
Rice draws a lot of attention. Jerry Rice wide to the right. Wilson split left, and that's the tight end Heller has not caught a pass today. And it's Montana through the hands of Heller, and that's been the knock on this young tight end from Oregon State, that he can't make the tough catch or doesn't make it often enough. He's been playing behind John Frank. Frank injured, not in uniform today.
Frank had his hand operated on, will be out for a number of weeks, and Heller can catch the ball in practice, just has trouble in the game, and I'm sure that with experience he is going to become a fine receiver. Runs good patterns, is a good blocker, but as you saw there, Montana used to the steady hands of John Frank and the quick outlet to his tight end.
3rd and 9, and the place kicker of the 49ers, Koper, getting ready just in case. Now Phoenix looking for its 4th win in a row here at San Francisco on a critical 3rd and 9 after the timeout. Montana, plenty of time. The pump fake gets away and pushed out of bounds at the 9-yard line. That'll be short of a first down. 5 yards for Montana. He was looking for Rice in the end zone, and he was covered well. So Koper and the field goal unit on again for San Francisco.
Bit of a handicap, as we mentioned, for quarterback Montana, who's so used to the steady hands of John Frank in there, and wanted to go to his number 1 man, Jerry Rice. He wasn't there, had to pull the ball down, picked up some yardage, but they'll have to try for the field goal there.
Remember, Koper hit the right upright on his last attempt. This is just 27 yards. He's got it. Boy, you could see the wind playing tricks with it. So back to a touchdown lead, San Francisco, with 1:09 left in the 3rd.
Let's go, McMahon.
Fans thought that Rice was open on that last play.
He's working on Guidry, a rookie, but watch Braxton, and that's what Montana saw, was Braxton drifting in on the inside, hoping the ball would be thrown to possibly pull down the interception.
At second man, and Montana wisely tucked it away, but had to settle for 5 yards and ultimately the field goal. Here's Koper kicking off to Denver. 13-6 San Francisco leads. Final minute, 3rd quarter, and out of bounds it goes, and with it Denver will take it at the 35-yard line. Let's go back to the late scores. This one is a touchdown lead for San Francisco. Miami still leading at Los Angeles. Phoenix big against Pittsburgh at home, and New Orleans by a field goal at San Diego. Giants and the Eagles tomorrow night. Remember back in the summer we were talking to Bill Parcells, and he'd already pointed to that 6th game. He said, that's the one that worries me already, playing in Philadelphia, that game 6. From the 35-yard line. But Winder was the key to the last drive, his running. And it's Winder who gets the call on first down. Dragged down by Larry Roberts, number 91, after a gain of 5.
A play that's designed to get a little screening effect from Steve Sewell, who comes across in motion just before the ball is snapped. Hard to see Winder in there, and of course they're counting on the fact that people will not see that back on that little draw play, but good job of stopping it for about a 4-yard gain.
Seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Vance Johnson, the 2nd man in motion, and it's Winder again. Out to the 43-yard line, a couple yards shy of the first down, and that's probably the last play of this 3rd quarter.
The running game not being tremendously effective, but you have to run the football. You see the trap by Bishop, 54, to spring the play inside. The gun ending this half, and Denver saying, now the wind is ours.
At the end of the 3rd quarter, the score, touchdown lead for San Francisco. We'll be back after these messages from your local school. It really raises havoc.
Not only that, it strips the energy out of you, and where the 49er defense is lined up, that whipping breeze is bringing dirt right into their faces and mouths. It's going to take a while to shower today. You're going to have to wash it out of every nook and cranny.
Well, we're as high as you can get at Candlestick, and there is even dust in all of our papers up here. That's how much is blowing around. Start the 4th quarter with a key 3rd and 3 for Denver at their 42.5.
Shotgun. And there's some confusion for Denver. They were calling late. good play.
Wilhite leaping forward for the first down at the 47. Gets 5 yards. Ronnie Lott coming up to assist on the tackle.
And Ronnie Lott had seen something, maybe anticipating that play, was pointing and yelling. I think they were trying to get a change in the defense just before that play was snapped.
Lott, they say, is a real yeller in that huddle. He really keeps things buzzing.
He sure does. They've missed him when he's been out of the lineup. He brings a much more physical approach to the game.
Now playing very deep as a safety man. First down, Denver trailing by 7.
Look out.
Fumble, Dorsett fumbles, and San Francisco recovers. It's Ronnie Lott who falls on the ball.
Lott absolutely stole that football from Dorsett, and Dorsett expecting Lott to try and make the tackle, and Lott simply went in and stole the football. But a good play by Denver up to that point. Watch Lott go right after the football here. He just reaches in and strips it away and then gets his hands on it to cover the fumble.
Boy, it's a big play. You hear that in the most complimentary of terms. For some players to earn a big play man, and Ronnie Lott is all of that.
You can see why they miss him in there. 3rd turnover of the day for the Broncos.
They're -8 now in the turnover table, and that really concerns Reeves, who watches that statistic very closely. Roger Craig. Boy, he carries men 4 yards after he's hit. Finally dragged down by Cragen and Fletcher and Mecklenburg.
Something that the Broncos have done very well over the years is what you just saw Ronnie Lott do, was strip that football away, and I'm sure that's what they're thinking about right now.
Other stories in this football Sunday, the 6th week of the season. Well, Craig is over 100 yards here. Ickey Woods had 139 yards and 2 touchdowns as the Bengals still unbeaten. Brent Fuller 118 yards for Green Bay in their first win. And Greg Bell 155 yards in the shutout at Atlanta scored by the Rams. Rathman into Denver territory has a first down at the 49.
49ers, I'm sure, will spend some time looking at that during the week. Right now, their major concern, running time off the clock. They'd love to be able to take that ball down and stick it in the end zone.
First down at the 49 as you see the other late scores. The only game at least dramatically close at San Diego, where the Saints now lead by 6. Here a 7-point 49er lead, 13-6. Bill Walsh said he thought it'd take 4 touchdowns to win this game. Craig protecting the ball, gains 4 to the 45-yard line.
Carl Mecklenburg there. Well, you see, you got to run for cover to get away from that dust that's whipping up, and these 49er fans happy with the way the 49ers are playing, at least much happier with the score than they would be to see something else up there. You can see that wind just continues to whip down there.
201 yards rushing for San Francisco, and he's got more than half of them.
That was over his 100 yards just running the football today.
He's 6 for 6. Well, that's production, knowing you're going to get a century plus out of one player every game.
Audible call by Montana.
Craig again. Breaks that first tackle, breaks 2 more. He should have lost 2, and he gains about 3-4 yards.
How many times have we seen him run right through that first tackle today? It looks like Mark Haynes, number 36, one of the missed tackles. Watch him cut back against the grain here. Gets back inside of Craig, and there was Mark Haynes right there, and runs out of a second tackle. So he literally got out of 2 tackles to pick up that yardage.
Andre Townsend, 61, couldn't bring him down alone either. There's Haynes. That's a mismatch with Haynes at the corner. He's given away a few pounds, but boy, that Craig high knee action as well has to make it tough on the tackler.
He's a pumper.
5 seconds on the 45-second clock. 3rd and 2.
Fumble. Ball on the
and
ground.
Denver says they have it. Let's see.
Well, we talk about turnovers. The Broncos come up with a big one.
So Bill Walsh in frustration, his team moving the ball, controlling the game, and yet have only 13 points and are within a touchdown of being tied as they cough it up. And with it, a timeout. 11 minutes remaining here at Candlestick, and the 49 42 to stop another San Francisco drive. 13-6 49ers lead. Elway, lots of time, no one open. Finally underneath to Kay. Kay breaks tackles to the 42-yard line of San Francisco. Let's go back to the fumble as Montana was trying to beat the clock, running down about 3 seconds.
Same thing that happened to Elway earlier. Just never got his hands on that ball, and the guards who were pulling pushed Montana out of the way, and Denver able to pounce on that football. We're not going to get a chance to watch Elway, but what a decisive way to start this drive. You feel Elway saying, come on, now is the time.
First down at the San Francisco 42, trailing 13-6. Winder gets a block on the corner, and good yardage to the 35 before he's dragged down by Charles Haley. Played his college ball at James Madison.
Got a fine block by Ricky Nattiel out there that really kind of boxed things in. These Denver receivers had never been afraid to stick their heads in there. They were able to get Winder sprung free outside. Look on the outside of this picture. You'll see Ricky Nattiel coming in right there. You don't see the block, but you see the room that the block created for Sammy Winder.
And a gain of 7 yards. Second down and 3. It's Winder again. Wasn't much of a hole, but he fought for a yard or two.
He'll be very close to a first down with that. May end up just short.
Tina Turner, Larry Roberts all in on the tackle.
As frustrating as a day as this has been for John Elway, I think if he can pull it together for his Bronco team here in the fourth quarter and get them back on track, this is such a critical game. They already feel that they're behind the 8-ball. A loss here, and they almost begin to think about next year.
He picked up a yard, so it's third down and 2. That's closer to 2 than 1. Elway, using a page out of the Montana book, sneaks it forward to the 30. Not quite the delay on the quarterback draw, but a little fake step, and then right behind his center, Bill Bryan, has the first down. This game.
Signals coming in for Gary Kubiak on the sideline. You're right about that, Dick. Montana, a different kind of quarterback than Elway. Elway's still a strong quarterback. He's not quite as quick as we've talked about earlier, but still great strength.
So first down at the 30, and some of the fans at Candlestick getting nervous with 8:20 left. 13-6, a big hole for Winder, and he has another first down at the 22-yard line. Ricky Ellison makes the tackle.
Expecting, I think, to see Dorsett do some big things today, and I would imagine that the 49er defense is a bit surprised that it's been Winder who has been the big tool in the running game for this Denver Bronco offense.
Make that not quite a first down. He picks up nearly 9 yards on the carry and now has 99 yards. Dorsett on the sidelines as Winder has taken charge, having a big game, a yard shy of 100 for Winder. Second down and short. Winder again. First down at the 19-yard line. So the Broncos driving toward a possible tie. First, let's go to New York.
All right, Dick, in L.A., the Raiders trying to rally against the Miami Dolphins. Jay Schrader back to pass, and he finds Steve Strahan wide open in the end zone. 13-yard touchdown play cuts the Miami lead to 24-14. Back to Dick and Merlin in San Francisco.
All right, Gail Gardner, 7 minutes left. First down, Denver, inside the San Francisco 20. Elway on the roll. Out of bounds he goes as he loses the ball at the 16-yard line as Kevin Fagan, trailing the play, made the hit. 3 yards for Elway. This game is the property of the National Football League. San Francisco and Denver, all rights reserved. This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the San Francisco 49ers and the National Football League is prohibited.
More than anything else, Elway wants to end the touchdown drought.
A drought that has now gone over 9 quarters plus an overtime. Incomplete to Mobley, and a flag is down and holding against Denver.
A late hit perhaps on Elway would be the only other possibility, and Elway holding his face on the ground, a hand to his face. Trainers being sent out onto the field, and take a look here. Looks like Elway really takes a shot right up the middle, right there, the helmet right underneath the chin. Ricky Ellison, I think, number 50.
Penalty is accepted. 10 yards.
And to rub salt in the wound, the penalty is against Denver for holding.
It looked like Elway caught Ricky Ellison's helmet right under the chin and just went down like a shot. Wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't have a cut, although the trainers letting him walk off the field. Must stay out now, one play.
Now the focus on Gary Kubiak, who replaces Elway. Kubiak, who has been a solid replacement but has not thrown a pass this season.
And they're trying to ask Elway, do you know your name? How many fingers am I holding up? Making sure he's all right. 49ers continue to rotate people in and out of the game. They've got the sprinters in there, the pass rush specialists right now.
After the 10-yard penalty at 2nd and 17, Kubiak draw wide open at the 20. He's at the 14-yard line. What a call, and a flag goes down. 13 yards and maybe more. Stover and Lott finally got him to the ground, and maybe a late hit. Oh, Mask, and that'll take it down farther, and a first down for the Broncos.
And this 49er defense has really hurt itself today with some critical penalties, several late hits, and there, the face mask reaching in. Number 42, Ronnie Lott. And Lott has made big plays today. That is a big play for the Denver Broncos.
Maybe a first down.
So it'll add 5 yards on to the 13 by Kubiak. They needed 17 for a first down, so they may be measuring. And here comes Elway. And what a job by Kubiak for one play. On a 2nd and 17, perhaps getting the first down.
5 yards, and it would appear that will give them the first down. It does. It's going to be 1st and 10 from
First and goal.
1st and goal from the 8.5-yard line. Elway back onto the field.
It's a 5-yard penalty only. The distance made it a first down. First down.
Well, Kubiak still hasn't thrown a pass, but he made one big play. And now Elway once again can set his sights on the end zone.
Well, they had 1st and goal at the 4 and had to settle for a short field goal early in the game. Then, without overstating the fact, the Broncos have been in a terrible touchdown drought. They're into their 10th quarter without a touchdown. Elway floods the right area, goes over the middle for a touchdown. Vance Johnson. And was he left alone? Somebody missed an assignment.
Doesn't matter that it was easy, just matters that they got it in there. They've now put that drought behind them, and you see the celebration. That's one happy football team on the sideline right now. And you kind of feel the air go out of the players on the San Francisco sideline. I think they realize that they have their hands cut out, or their job cut out for them, as the game will now be tied if they can get this one-pointer through. There's Vance Johnson.
For Elway, only his 6th touchdown pass in 6 games. Harless adds the extra point, and with 6 minutes and 23 seconds left, it's a new game in Candlestick Park, San Francisco. Broncos 13, 49ers 13. And a key play certainly was Kubiak off the bench. One play getting them a first down on a 2nd and 17. 6 minutes, 23 seconds to go. Tied at 13. Reeves, who played for Tom Landry in Dallas for his career, almost took the job in Atlanta with the Falcons. That's so close to his home. America's joy. The Los Angeles Raiders 30-27 in overtime when they led 24-0 at halftime.
Those losses within division, 2 are the tough ones. 3 losses within division, and 2 of those at home.
It deep, and the wind carries it right over the head of Doug DeBose. It's first down San Francisco at the 20-yard line. That will keep our eye on Roger Craig, who has 117 yards rushing today. That ties his all-time high. But first we have a timeout. 6:17 left. Now the pressure here on San Francisco, trying to go 5-1, stay with New Orleans and the Rams in the NFC West. They start at the 20. Roger Craig, and with those 5 yards, he's now at 122, his all-time game high with the 49ers. Final end, New Orleans 23, San Diego 17. 3 Morton Anderson field goals, the difference there. So Saints and Rams have both won. They're 5-1. And San Francisco needs a victory to stay tied for the lead in the West.
Just an aside, the only 2 teams that Bill Walsh has not defeated in his tenure here in San Francisco, the Denver Broncos and the San Diego Chargers. Interesting.
Reeves has beaten him twice. Rathman has the first down across the 30-yard line. Simon Fletcher cut him down with a tackle, but Rathman fell about 4 yards after the hit.
Maybe we can put that graphic back in. We didn't get a chance to talk to you about it. The chance to look at the rushing comparison of 2 backs who've really dominated the rushing game here today. There's one of them, Roger Craig. Winder, a surprisingly effective day for the Denver Broncos.
Francisco averaging over 400 yards a game coming into this one, number 1 in the NFL, and they're going to be up there again. Craig, look at the explosion and the effort of Craig, who has 10 more.
A great trap block inside by Jesse Sapolo, number 61, who just powers inside. Maybe we can get a chance to do it for you. Watch Sapolo, who's playing right here. Watch Sapolo just come inside. A little block back by the center, and Craig will rip up inside through a very open hole. Look at that. Bingo. And there's Roger Craig stepping again. Look at the leg power as he just drives out of those tackles.
Yeah, it's a great shot to show you how important the timing articulation is. Montana on top to Rice. And the wind held that up just enough for Steve Wilson to save the touchdown. As Rice was sprinting clear, the ball just died in midair.
On a day without that breeze, that's a touchdown because Rice had just simply run away from the coverage. Montana with plenty of arm, but the wind, as you said, just killing the football. And that's what happens to you when you start to face that breeze, and particularly here in Candlestick.
Brent Jones, who was just activated, number 84 by San Francisco, to replace John Frank at tight end, is in for the first time. And there are the 2 leading runners, Winder and Craig. And Winder's second half performance has pulled Denver back into the game. And on 3rd down and short yardage, 49ers wedge it out and have another 4 downs. The clock now becomes a more important factor. 4:14 left.
Winder only had 31 yards at the half, Dick, so he has indeed had a very impressive second half. Right now, 1st and 10. San Francisco thinking about 2 things. Eat the clock, but most importantly, let's get some points on the board.
And they'll be, if a field goal is a factor, kicking into the wind, of course. They're 14 yards from 400 for the day as Montana on top. He's got those 14 or close to it, and a first down at the Denver 42. Mark Haynes makes the tackle. Roger Craig with a tough catch. And a penalty flag down against San Francisco.
And Roger Craig cannot believe it. The hard work of getting the completion out there and the hard hit that he took at the end of it. And it's going to be marched off against the San Francisco 49ers.
And penalty mistakes have been a factor in this game as well.
Jim Tutty. Hard to maintain your dignity when your hat's trying to fly off on you. Well, let's talk for a second about heroics. I'll tell you, Joe Montana, no stranger. Earlier in the year, a 78-yard touchdown pass to Rice with 42 seconds left in the game to beat the Giants. But let's look at this play.
Jesse Sapolo,
see if you can,
61.
61 right at the top of your screen. He's got a wrestling hold there. Takedown. There's the hit we talked about. Mike Haynes.
Well, Mark Haynes, who has done some good work with leveling the receiver, although he's playing off the ball there.
Certainly having a very strong year, Mark Haynes.
Steve Young had come into the game for San Pacific Time Zone stations, where the program will be seen at its regular time. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen. We have 3 minutes and 14 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. The game is tied, San Francisco and Denver at 13.
A question might be asked here as to why Steve Young is in the ballgame. We've had no indication that Montana is hurt. We do know that Montana was sick earlier in the week.
Had the
lost
flu.
about 10 pounds and maybe weakening some. But also, we'd have to maybe wonder that Young's great running ability would figure into this, and we may see him roll out of there. Yes,
There he
indeed.
goes.
There he goes.
Plus the fact he has a stronger arm, and throwing into the wind, that could be another reason. So there's several trying to guess with Bill Walsh why Young, not Montana's in there. But Greg Cragen makes the tackle.
Well, here's the rollout we predicted, and Young is an outstanding runner, but he can't outrun number 71. Greg Cragen comes from the nose tackle position. Watch it right here, a very sure ankle tackle on Steve Young.
And it's ruled a sack for Denver with 2:37 left. And the 49ers now looking at 3rd down and 18.
And the big concern at this point is still going into the wind. That's a lot of time. Denver is going to get the football with quite a bit of time on the clock unless they can pick up this first down.
For some of you who are just joining us after a placid first half where the wind was not a factor at all, at halftime it came up. Give you an idea how strong it is. It doesn't look it from the flags, but as Denver has taken the timeout, Jim Tunney's hat blew from the 40-yard line right through the end zone, and he's going to have to use that stick in the gymnast do to keep everything in place.
Put a strap on that hat, tie it under a rope.
On the 10-minute ticker, Miami leading by 10 at Los Angeles. That 24-0 lead, however, is down to just a 10-point advantage. Phoenix has beaten Pittsburgh. We know it's final in San Diego. New Orleans beat San Diego. Phoenix about to beat Pittsburgh. 3rd down and 18. Young looking for a bunch. He's a great scrambler, and here he counts. To the 42-yard line, Randy Robbins, number 48, made the tackle for Denver, and they'll have to punt.
Walsh not taking any chances. Well, short of the 10 yards. I was looking at the post there. He's actually 11 yards shy of the first down. He'll get a chance to watch the play as Young bursts out of there. He has a little bit of time. He's looking to throw the ball downfield. One of his problems as a quarterback, he is not too patient in there. Here's the quickness we talked about, but not enough to get him down there as Randy Robbins, first hit, number 48. They take him down, and Walsh has his punting team on the field.
And a timeout. The 2-minute warning has been given. With a score, San Francisco 13 and Denver 13. Two minutes to go. And punting into the wind for San Francisco will be Barry Helton. 49ers have controlled the ball enough that Helton hasn't seen much duty here in the second half. Boy, look at the wind take that one. That ball's going nowhere.
Almost blew it right back with a great bounce.
And Wilhite fields it at the 32-yard line.
About a 20-yard bounce. That ball came straight down and just jumped toward the Denver goal line.
Normally, when you kick them into the wind like that, it bounces back in your face, and had it, that would have been a no-gainer.
Well, we've seen punters down their own punts. It looked like that might have been a possibility on that one. But good bounce and a little bit of room. And now a defensive unit for San Francisco that's taken some heat this year. They've had 3 games where they were certainly maligned for the way they've played. They need to come up with some big plays here. See if they can shut down Elway and company.
Crowd will try to help. Elway is sacked. Danny Stubbs, the rookie from Miami.
Exactly the kind of play they hope to get to put the pressure on Elway. Coming from the right-hand side of your screen, number 96. Elway trying to look downfield, but there's just no way. Ken Lanier, 76, could not hold Stubbs away from John Elway.
And Denver will spend a timeout with 1:37 to go. And one of the thoughts here as Elway goes to the sidelines, but we'll pick it up after we pause for this. Merlin Olsen, that with 1:37 to go and a 2nd and 20 deep in your own end, you want to flirt with a possible interception mistake here, knowing you will at worst perhaps have overtime.
Absolutely true. And Elway was limping slightly as he came back onto the field. We'll keep an eye on him.
There's a little safety valve middle screen to Wilhite, and he plows across the 30 to the 32-yard line to get the 10 yards lost on the sack plus a couple. It'll be 3rd down and 8 or 9 to go.
High percentage pass, not the kind that would be intercepted, and we'll see that again. You're right. They don't want to flirt with the possibility of interception here.
1:10 remaining. Elway now has a man wide open, and he throws short to Sewell. And that was a windblown pass, and a flag is down.
2 flags, one on each side of the field for a possibility of an ineligible man downfield. No, offside.
San Francisco. So that'll bring up 3rd and about 3.
Another opportunity for Elway and company.
1 minute and 3 seconds showing on the clock. 1 timeout left for each side.
See if we can hear the number.
96 defense, offside.
Stubbs, who had the sack to start this sequence.
The eagerness to get in and take another shot at Elway, and Stubbs crowding the football gives Elway and company another opportunity. They would have had to kick the ball away.
What appears from what happens when you throw the ball cross field, the wind just takes it away from you. You almost have to go down the middle.
As strong as Elway is, he couldn't beat that box.
3rd down and 3, not 3rd and 7.
First down.
Height right at the chains. Let's see where they mark it. I believe they're going to give him the 42. That would be a 1st down.
They are happy to have Gerald Wilhite back in the lineup. Not only a fine receiver and a good clutch runner, but also he is their best pickup man at the blitz. And he stays back in there. He reads the blitz, and he'll pick up those blitzers as he did earlier in this ball game, and that's critical.
Clock is running, 45-44. The longest field goal ever for Carlos is 51 yards, just to give you an indication where Elway has to go. There's that same play up the middle with the screen, and Wilhite is to the 49-yard line. 27 seconds.
They're clicking it down. Elway finally takes a timeout.
And that will be the last timeout for Denver.
And one has to wonder, with that powerful breeze behind him, how far Carlos could kick. We have a flag down on the field.
34-yard line would be the line of scrimmage for a 51-yard field goal.
Defense was offside.
Stubbs offside again.
It's declined as they will take the gain on the play as the time is more critical at this point. Oof.
The wind basically at the back of the Broncos, but it's not a predictable straight from behind. It's a swirling storm. Intercepted. And Elway makes the saving tackle at the 39-yard line as Darryl Pollard, number 26, makes the big play. Hold on, the Broncos are saying there's a penalty, and they still have the ball with 16 seconds left.
We've had a couple of critical calls.
21 defense before the pass is intercepted.
This San Francisco defense continues to self-destruct in critical situations. They've had 2 late hits. They've had right there a penalty that takes the football out of their hands and puts it right back into the hands of the Denver Broncos.
It was called against the veteran defensive back Eric Wright, number 21.
Let's look for it if we can. And we don't see him. Nope. No. Obviously back on the other side of the field, but it doesn't matter. Well, I don't know about you, Dick. There it is, far right-hand side, and you saw the throw of the flag right there.
It was a check outside the 5-yard zone.
You can't pop those receivers once they get beyond 5 yards.
So the timeouts left.
5 seconds. I don't think.
Well, they've called a timeout here, but according to I guess they did have one remaining. The word we had received was they had only one timeout left. They've used one since then, but apparently Dan Reeves did have one remaining, and now they can bring on the field goal unit. Oh, my.
An opportunity for Carlos to put it up.
That was a 28-yard play. How Cake caught that ball with 49ers diving around him. It was an outstanding play.
I think that's a hard one to judge for the defenders. The ball whipping with the wind. Here's a chance to look at it from high above. Mobley, far side of your screen. 2 defenders right there reaching for the football, but number 89 gets it, and then a few more yards. Boy, that's a big play. And now right back in the lap of number 3, Rich Carlos.
It'll be around 34 yards with plenty of wind at his back.
Carlos 10 for 10 going into last week. 4 of 7 last week. Has kicked well here today, and he's kicking off the grass.
He's kicked 2 short ones, 27 yards. This one is 34 with 5 seconds left. This would win it. If he misses, we go overtime. Not even close. Wide to the right as that wind drove it.
And the devil winds of Kezar have denied Reeves what he thought was a sure opportunity to step out of here with the victory. It now will go to OT.
Well, it almost was driven into Kezar Stadium. You're right. In this overtime period, giving the ball to the 49ers. It'll be interesting if Bill Walsh will counter with his younger, stronger armed, faster quarterback Young, or will he stay with Montana?
Montana close to the sideline, licking his fingers. I think he feels that it's going to be his opportunity to get back into this ball game. And it wouldn't surprise me that, he's had a bit of a time to rest. Maybe he's feeling better. Look at him. He's got them warm. They said, well, better warm up that arm a bit. I'll tell you, it's going to be tough to throw that football into the teeth of this wind. You're going to see a lot of Roger Craig and Tom Rathman.
Couple of finals we can duck in. Miami leading 24-0 at the half at Los Angeles. Beat the Raiders 24-14. And Phoenix wins again. 4 in a row for the Cardinals at home. They beat Pittsburgh 31-14. Here it's 13-all. As Carlos kicks it off to start the overtime period. 1 15-minute period. Sudden death. DeVos. He hit at the 20 and falls to the 22. Pat Kelly, reserve tight end, number 86 down the field, makes a big hit.
Kelly had a
block beauty of Vermont while I was gone.
Yeah, looking at these colors out here in the stadium reminds me of the beauty of the fall colors in Vermont. A lovely time.
Roger Craig. They take the reverse, and Craig kept it. They brought Rice around as if it was a reverse, and Craig holds on out to the 27-yard line, maybe the 28.
Walsh loves those gadget plays. He's hit us and the Denver defense with a couple of beauties in terms of reverses today to Rice, and of course taking advantage of that with the fake reverse, but Denver's defense reacted well. 2nd and 5. Pressure on him. Boy, hand him an Alka-Seltzer. Give him something. Stomach churning.
On 2nd and 5. Montana.
Great catch. Great throw.
On the run. Did he lead him perfectly with Jim Ryan coming up from linebacker and Mark Eames at cornerback. Defensively for Denver, it'll be just shy of the first down, apparently.
I wonder how Montana judged the windage on that one. That's a tough pass. That's crosswind. He's able to get it drifting out there, and a great catch right there by Rathman. 3rd and short yardage.
1 yard for the first down. And it's a first down. As you see how even the scrimmage control has been, that the 49ers need control. They don't want to have to punt into that win at this stage. And Craig is going to be close.
Very, very close to the first down. That was a strong tackle inside by 77 Mecklenburg. who put a real cruncher on Craig.
And they're going to measure.
And it would be interesting here, if they're short, to see what Walsh would do. Would he go for it on 4th down? Kicking into that wind has been hazardous all day. Helton, you saw, kicked one straight up, almost had it not bounced away. Well, he doesn't have to make the choice.
First down for San Francisco. Joe Montana staring into that setting sun over the western sidelines where San Francisco's bench is located. He gets his read, and that always isn't perfect either. As Bill Walsh told us against the Lions last week, he signaled in a very safe pass, and Montana misread the signals and went for a hook and lateral play, and he said, oh, Walsh said, oh, my goodness, late in the game. I could just see that lateral laying on the ground. Here comes Craig. And several Broncos, Boyer, Townsend and company to make the tackle after short yardage.
This has been a gallant effort by this Bronco defense with the injuries that they had coming in, the injuries they've had today, to hold the 49ers to 13 points and to be able to turn them away as many times as they have. Been a fine day for them. And at this point, with the kind of exhaustion that you have, you just got to reach down and suck it up.
410 yards, total yards now. Play action, and what a throw again. Complete to Mike Wilson at the 50-yard line.
And you've got to wonder, Dick, if maybe that wind is easing up a little bit as Montana has been able to complete a second pass, but he is throwing it low and on a string. Well, I tell you, dangerously close to the ground, but well done. He's been able to beat the wind twice on this drive, moving the ball to just nose up on the 50-yard line.
That was Wilson's first catch of the game, 13 yards on the play.
Wilson had, what, 5 catches last week? Had a big week.
There's a delay. They may be looking at the replay to see whether or not he might have trapped the ball, but it appeared to be a clean catch.
It appeared to be a clean catch. They may be.
Hard to tell from that angle.
Replay confirms completed pass, 4th down.
Well, they're saying, yes, it is a completed pass. It looked to be tucked away comfortably in the stomach of Mike Wilson.
Short passes, ground game, and now Montana into the flat, incomplete.
Dropped the football.
You won't see that often from Roger Craig.
Sure pair of hands out there, but not on that one.
Well, let's look at all the finals while we're in overtime here in San Francisco. And we hope your favorite team won today. Second and 10, Montana. And down goes Montana with flags flying around him.
I think we got a holding call, which probably will be refused because it's going to be about a 6-yard loss on the sack.
And Montana gets up holding his rib cage.
And the wind definitely feels like it's easing up on the field, Dick. Just a sense that it's softened up a little bit here late in the afternoon. Still blowing, definitely against the 49ers, but not blowing with the intensity.
62, offense is declined. 3rd down.
They've waved off the penalty as we expected that they would, knowing that they're going to take the down away from the 49ers. And there's Montana. He's gone to the sideline. Steve Young will take over.
Guy McIntyre was the man ticketed for the penalty, but Denver, of course, takes the sack, and it's 3rd down. About 16 to go from the 44-yard line. Here's a big play as Denver eager to get the ball, and now Steve Young handles it as if there's a mix-up here.
He had some confusion, said you got to be the other way. Let's see if he rolls it out to his left. Yep, there he goes, drifting out.
He throws high and intercepted by Denver at the 32-yard line. Going out of bounds with the ball is Mark Haynes.
Bill Walsh cannot believe it. Started out on the field. Let's keep an eye on quarterback as he comes off, and he doesn't want to get close enough to talk to Bill Walsh.
Walsh is there to greet him. He's not going to get around him.
Why are you throwing that football? Man covered, obviously. In fact, excellent coverage on the play. You'll see it on the left-hand side of your screen. Rolls left, looks back, and throws to a man who's double covered. And there it is. You can't double cover him any better than that.
Well, it may have been as good as a punt into the wind anyway. Had it been incomplete. And now it's Denver's chance. And Winder loses a yard on first down. Read well by Ricky Ellison. Played at Southern California. And Larry Roberts from Alabama.
Montana is still aching on the sideline. Can't tell whether it's ribs, stomach, groin, what it is, but enough to get into the sideline and allow Steve Young to make a costly mistake. Defense up with a big play. The second 11.
Timeout called by Jim Tunney, the referee, as number 95, Michael Carter, the star-nosed man of the San Francisco 49ers and really the fulcrum of their entire defense, comes off. Here's the report card on San Francisco very quickly. Montana, an average day passing, but with a win. But another great day for Roger Craig, a career high 141 yards. Vance Johnson, who has the touchdown for Denver, in motion. Elway to Johnson. And he's out of bounds with a first down at the 43-yard line.
There's the magic we talked about. The ability after the play has broken down to make something happen that is positive for your team. Elway sprints out, gets some extra time to the outside, finds the open receiver, completes the play for a first down. Here's Elway. Elway gets the extra time with his legs, and you see Johnson left-hand side of your screen as he throws back against his body. Boy, now I don't know how he can complete that pass, but he did.
First down for the Broncos. 10:18 left in sudden death overtime. Winder met in the backfield for another loss.
99.
Michael
Walder and Ronnie Lott on the blitz. Woof.
Ronnie Lott, a big hitter and a big game player. And for Denver, John Elway, 21 of 38, 210 yards, a couple of interceptions, and one touchdown pass. Winder, Sammy Winder, has Tony Dorsett on the sidelines. 103 yards rushing for him. And Vance Johnson, 8 catches for 85 yards. Harless missing one field goal, but that one would have won it. A loss of 2 on first down. And so Elway moves to the shotgun. To the sidelines. Almost picked off. On the far side by number 22, Tim McKyer, who intercepted Elway pass in the end zone in the first quarter.
So very close. McKyer, you'll see him at the top of your picture. He's backed off, and here he comes on acceleration, arrives just as the football arrives. Boy, you can't time it any better than that. Ticks it out of the hands right there.
Vance Johnson didn't sell his pattern very well. He came out there and soft-stepped his move to the outside, and McKyer read it well.
I think that foot's still bothering him a little bit on his cuts.
Third and long. Down the middle. Kay can't get it. Incomplete. And San Francisco will get another chance as the punting team comes on for Denver.
Trying to get it to his big tight end up the middle, but that ball just thrown too hard and behind the wide receiver, tipped that way. Often it will result in an interception. And Mike Horan is going to have a chance to punt it again.
Oh, fourth down. Horan, who came into this game as the top punter in the NFL, with a win end over end, takes a big Denver bump. And covering it at the last second was number 29, Don Griffin, at the 10-yard line, flirting with disaster.
That ball jumped with the wind as it kicked up. Almost got away, and there's a flag on the field.
Apparently against San Francisco. We'll see. At least that was the early indication. All
kinds of things blowing on the field. Hard to see what's actually there.
Jim Tunney.
Illegal use of the hand while the punt was in the air. It's penalized and brought the ball is dead. Half the distance to the goal line.
Dead ball foul, and that moves it half the distance to the goal line. That's a costly one.
That means to the 5-yard line, a 49-yard punt by Horan. You remember that the one touchdown drive of the game for the 49ers in the first half started on their 5-yard line, and that's how they start here with Young, the quarterback. And the busy Roger Craig carrying the ball for 2. In the second quarter, Montana started the drive going right to left with the wind with a 55-yard pass to John Taylor. Eventually another 33-yard pass to Rice, and Montana on a quarterback draw scored from 6 yards out, the only 49er touchdown.
Montana now accepting his role as the man to signal in the plays, as Young does for him when he is on the field.
It is a minor rib injury. He could play.
Audible call from Young.
Inside handoff to Ring, and the big fullback and a flag down. Appears to be against San Francisco. Rathman had enough yardage for an apparent first down, but there it is, the ugly holding call if you're a 49er fan.
I don't think I'd want to sit in on the film session that Bill Walsh is going to throw for his troops tomorrow, because it's going to be ugly. They have had so many opportunities, frustrated by their own mistakes, their own penalties, their own errors.
Holding 51 offense. After this,
Randy Cross, veteran center, ticketed for that one.
That's the
Holding
11th.
Greg Cragen.
Excuse me, Berlin, the 11th penalty for San Francisco, and 85 yards in yardage.
Center right there, 51 on 71. And you see Cross just hanging on from the backside. Cragen cannot get away from him. The flag thrown in behind.
So it's second down and 12 yards to go from just outside the 3. 8 minutes left in overtime. Yeah, good thing. And he's throwing long for Taylor.
Ooh.
And no flag. The fans are screaming for one. Harden and Steve Wilson on the coverage.
Walsh pulling out the stops in an area with them backed up against their own goal line, going for the deep shot to Taylor. Chance to watch the end of that play. We'll let you call your own bumping or non-bumping at the end of that play. Well, kind of hard to see from that angle, but there was some contact. We know that.
Yeah, with the overtime, we want to thank Joe Costanza and company, Cheryl Forbes, Joe Walker, Don Sin, and Dave Rehan for their help here in the booth. Now a critical third down for the 49ers, or they're going to be punting from their own end zone. Intercepted by Denver, Steve Wilson. Wilson at the 5, and he is to the 4-yard line on the deflection, and the Broncos are celebrating.
And how many times have we seen this Denver defense come up with the big interception? Steve Wilson, number 45. And again, playing because of the injury to Jeremiah Castile. He's the guy that's in there to make the big play. This ball bounces out of the hands of the intended receiver right there. Jerry Rice right through his hands and right into the waiting arms of Steve Wilson. Wilson does a good job of getting away from his counterpart, Mike Wilson, to get an extra 5 yards before they finally took him down.
I think Jerry Rice looked up. He saw Tyrone Braxton coming up to make the hit, who lost sight of the ball. I believe Elway here is just going to set this up in the middle of the field, and we might see a field goal try on second down. Right into the middle of the line goes Dorsett.
Yep, here it is.
And here comes the field goal unit.
Not taking any chances. They're going to go right now. And the advantage of that is that if you happen to miss fire on the field goal, you're not on a fourth down situation. You just cover it and go ahead and take it on another opportunity. Carlos, by the way, has to be saying, thank God that I'm going to get another chance after that miss.
He missed in the final seconds of regulation from 34 yards. This one is not much more than an extra point. They'll spot the ball at the 13, a 23-yard attempt. The Broncos 16, the 49ers 13, and a flag is down. Hold on. Let's check the flag.
Don't celebrate yet, fellas. Find out who the penalty is on.
Number 42 is declined. Field goal is good. The game is over. Shoot it.
Penalty against Ronnie Lott. Unsportsmanlike conduct. That could be for a lot of things. The game is over. The wave of victory to Bill Walsh, who watches his 49ers move the ball up and down the field and unable to put it in the end zone or get any points, and he goes 4-2, and the Broncos with a most important winner now, 3-3. Steve Wilson with that interception in the overtime period is our Budweiser most valuable player. Budweiser will make a contribution to the United Way on behalf of all the MVP selected in today's games. 419 yards for the 49ers, but they pay off in points, and Denver goes home in overtime with Rich Carlos's field goal and a 6-3 win. Stay tuned to the NBC Sunday night programming, which will follow these words.
This has been a present. It was the defense again. You can give them the credit. 2 interceptions in overtime. The